retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. Take the thing to see. Just like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we just want retribution. Let's go light up the darkness. Make true of an empty promise. Flip cards into weak and harmless. Take to the streets and turn them to a mosh pit. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.
Well, hello everybody. Thank you for joining us today, and wow, it's been an exciting week. I am thrilled to be here to introduce our new head coach, Brian Calllahan. And going into this interview process, we knew Brian was a really special candidate. We knew his background and his extensive experience. We saw the list of quarterbacks he's worked with and elite offenses he's been a part of. We knew about his deep knowledge and understanding of the game. And on a personal note, I knew that we both shared the connection of having fathers who passed down their love of football to their children. And after all that research and the reviews of people whose lives and careers he has impacted so deeply, then we got to meet Brian. He exceeded all of our expectations. It was clear how the meeting quickly shifted from your standard interview to a player breakdown session that he and Rand had a very special chemistry between them. Honestly, watching that interaction unfold made us even more confident as our next head coach. As our second interview went on, we realized that we didn't want him leaving the building without agreeing to be our next head coach. I've heard various things about me grabbing him and grabbing his legs, but anyway, it was a mutual thing here. When it came time to ask him, we were so happy to learn that he wanted to be a Titan as much as he wanted him to be. We are thrilled that we get to enter this next era of Titans football with him at the helm. As I've said time and time again, I will never shy away from saying that I have extremely high expectations for our football team and really our entire organization. I expect us to build a team that is going to have sustained success and bring Lombardi trophies to the city of Nashville. I am confident that we have put the right pieces in place to bring that goal to life and build a future that Titan fans will be proud of. With that, I'd like to introduce the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, Brian Calllahan.
This is a pretty surreal moment for me. I need to fix this for you. Is that good? You know, you don't get to these places in front of rooms like this with incredible people sitting here watching this without a lot of help along the way. And so I want to make sure that I point out the people that have done that. And most importantly, there's you're going to have to bear with me because it might be a little more difficult than I thought it was before I got up here. This really is a lifelong dream of mine to be standing at this podium in front of everybody here. To be a head coach at the highest level, to be this franchise's head coach is a great responsibility and an incredible honor. I'm excited to put in the work and hard work necessary for us to be able to have the success that we all envision. There's great things about Nashville, and there's great things about the Tennessee Titans, and part of my job is to make sure that we bring all those things to life. I'd like to thank first and foremost Amy, Kenneth, and Barclay for giving me this opportunity to run this historic franchise in partnership with you. Again, it's an incredible responsibility that I do not take lightly, and it's one that I'm deeply appreciative for. From the moment of our first Zoom meeting, I felt an unbelievable connection to the people in the room, and that was, as Rand mentioned, Anthony Robertson, Chad Brinker, Rand Carthon was in there, Burke was in there, Bryce was in there. Just the connection from the get-go was incredible, and I knew that it was going to be a place that I wanted to call home. It felt like that from the very beginning. I'm thankful that they felt the same way. I was about to make an impassioned plea to Rand as our meeting was concluding on Monday evening, and it turns out I didn't have to do that. They wanted me about exactly the same way that I wanted them, and that everything felt right. The relationships felt right. The energy felt right. And when I was walking around the building, and we had opportunities to meet people from different parts of the organization, it was an incredible feeling. It felt like a family. I've been fortunate to be a part of an incredible organization in Cincinnati that felt very similar, and it was comfortable to me to feel that. There's unbelievable people here. I haven't met all of them, and I can't wait to meet everybody that works in this organization. But man, if you guys could feel the way I felt after that first Zoom meeting, I was about to call Rand and be like, "All right, man, let's get it done. I don't care what anybody. You can talk to whoever you want to, but I want it done now." And that's how I felt. It was very important to me that this is the place that I wanted to be. And again, I'm very thankful that they felt the same way. I do want to point out, really most importantly, though, that there was an instant connection with Rand and I. And we see building a team, we see the culture of the building the same. And that's an important part of this entire process. His energy and passion for the Tennessee Titans made me believe in him. And that's what made me want to be here, standing in this room. And I'm, again, thankful that I get to be here because a lot of that is because of what Rand presented as we started this process. He's an excellent communicator, and he's an outstanding person. He's earned my respect immediately, and Rand, I can't wait to get going. I do want everyone to know that this has felt like a family to me from the start, and that's one of the most important things to me is my family. And so when you talk about that, there's a quote from Jurgen Klopp. I didn't want to just rip it off and present it as my own, but he had said it at one point. He's a soccer coach at Liverpool. He said, when you agree on a common idea and work towards it together, you can create something very special. And that's what I believe in. That's what we'll do here. That to me is what this is all about, and there is no ability to have success without those principles. All right, I would like to thank the Cincinnati Bengals organization. Mike Brown, who is probably one of the greatest men that I've ever met. I'll get it together in a second, don't worry. Katie and Troy Blackburn, their daughters Elizabeth and Caroline, and Duke Tobin and his staff. They gave me an incredible opportunity to grow, and they were patient, and they invested in me, and I'll forever be grateful for that. The next one, again, you can see how much these people mean to me. I'll get it together. All right. And then probably most importantly, Zach Taylor. He's a great friend. He's been an incredible mentor, and he's a fantastic football coach. Thank you for everything. All right. Thank you to the players and the coaching staff. Obviously, without an incredible amount of hard work, I don't get to stand here. And there's a lot of people that go into that, staff, players, particularly the quarterback room, Joe Burrow, Jake Browning. Those guys I'm incredibly indebted to. I wish I could list the whole team, but I can't. We'll be here too long. You guys would get bored. But I loved working with those players every day. There's something special about where I came from that I hope to replicate here. I think you can see it in how I feel when I speak about it, but I love going to work every single day there. And that's the environment we're going to create here. I want a place where people love coming to work, they enjoy everybody they're around, and that creates an environment that's sustainable, and you can have sustained excellence and have a chance to win a lot of football games. And so that's what we're after. I would like to thank, probably most importantly than anybody else in this room, my wife Allison, who's sitting right here. She's everything I could ever ask for in a partner. This is a difficult profession, and I wouldn't be here today, and I couldn't do my job if it wasn't for her. To my two wonderful children, thank you for being good today. Nora, right here, and Ronan, right there. You say hi, bud? Hi. Yep. All right, and there's a lot of people that I don't get to say here that have invested in my career and invested in me that are hugely important into me getting to this point in my career. But I apologize, I can't list everybody again, but thank you to everybody who's ever invested in me, who's spent time with me, who's helped me grow. I'm very appreciative for all that time and effort. I'd like to thank my parents, Bill and Val. They are not here today. They're watching somewhere on the stream. They've been the most influential people in my life. They've been my biggest supporters, and they've given me an incredible amount of confidence. They've shown me the type of love and nurturing that allowed me to be the person I am today. And there's nobody that I'd lean on more at any point in my life than both of them. They've been the single most greatest influence I've ever had. And thank you for the love and support. Just a couple people in my family I'd like to point out. My brother Danny, his wife Susie, my sister Catherine, her husband Chris, their kids Liam and Evelyn, my youngest sister Jackie, and my family means everything to me. I love you guys. Thank you for everything. My in-laws Connie and Jack, my brother-in-law Jack, his wife Sherry, along with their 3 kids, Jack, Navy, and Wells. That's a lot of Jacks in there for those of you who are counting. Thank you for all the love and support as well. All right, there's 2 people here that I'd like to recognize. But first, my high school coaches at De La Salle High School in Concord, California. It's a place that I'm incredibly proud to have gone, incredibly proud to be a part of. And specifically Bob Laddister and Terry Edson, who are not here today, but hopefully they're watching this. Thank you for showing me what commitment to hard work was and what it meant to be a part of a team. I'd like to have special recognition for Mark Pinella, his wife Sue, his daughters Francesca and Sophia, who are sitting somewhere. They're here somewhere. Mark and Sue are right here in the front. Mark was my quarterbacks coach in high school. He is a Franklin resident here today, and he helped raise me into the man that I am standing right in front of you. The last one I'd like to point out is Patrick Walsh. Patrick Walsh is currently the head coach at Sarah High School in San Mateo, California. He gave me my first coaching and teaching job in 2008. And so I felt like it was important that he be here for this. He came all the way from California, took the red eye last night to be here, so thank you. He's one of my closest friends and incredible mentors. And again, I would not be sitting here in front of you without his love, support, and guidance, and he's always been there for me. Thanks, P-Dub. Yep. All right, moving on to past the emotional stuff here. I'm glad that's over. What we're trying to do here is establish a culture of high standards and clear communication, both on and off the field. Meetings, walkthroughs, practices, how we interact in the building, how we work in the front office, how our scouts work, how our players work, how everybody in this building works. Everyone's going to be held to a high standard. We want to be held to a high standard. I've never met a player in football that doesn't want to be held to the highest possible standard so we can go make that happen and get it done. There's going to be excitement to walk into this building every day. You guys saw how emotional I got talking about Cincinnati. Well, that's how I want our players and people to feel here. When you walk in the building every day, there's an incredible excitement about what's ahead. Anybody who deals with our players, the expectation is to bring great energy, have great experience, and have great expertise. We want everyone who affects them to be able to have that enthusiasm and our shared vision. We're going to be a connected football team. We're going to be a connected organization. I believe in it. If you don't have a connection, it's really hard to do anything of worthwhile. The business of this sport really is all about people and relationships, and so if we don't have any sort of connection, there's really no point in us doing our jobs the way we do it. This is what makes it fun. This is what I enjoy the most, is being able to be connected with the people that I work with every single day. All right? Everyone wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves. That's what makes this sport special. That's what makes sports in general special. But if you're a part of something bigger than yourself, you sacrifice for the greater good. You give up some of your individual successes and aspirations so we can lift the team. And there's been that trait goes from high school through pro football. Every team I've been on that's been great has had those traits. And it's a critical part of building a great football team. Being a great teammate, playing hard for each other, helping everyone around them accomplish a greater goal is the principles of what this program will be built on. Those are the things that we're ready to accomplish as a football team, as an organization. I cannot wait to get started. These are the things that I enjoy this part, but the work is really what I enjoy the most. And so I can't wait to get going. I can't wait to see our players. For all those guys out there watching, I can't wait to meet you. Please come see me. My door's open. I can't wait to start building our relationship so we can go win a bunch of football games and have a lot of success. The last thing I'll say is that really to the Titans fans, the city of Nashville, and the great state of Tennessee, all right, we're going to need your incredible support. You're a huge part of this. We need Nissan Stadium to be the most feared stadium that people walk into every Sunday. We need every possible bit of energy, every last amount of enthusiasm. Our players need to feel the energy. I can't wait to see you guys there. It's going to be a lot of work ahead, but a lot of fun as well. I'm proud. I'm humbled to be standing here before you as the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Thank you.
Brian,
Yeah.
what are your feelings about Will Levis, and have you connected with him?
I have. I called Will I don't even know what day it is anymore, but I called Will a few days ago after I got the job, and then I saw him here today. He was working out, so I got a chance to catch up with him. I told him he's leaving town, I think, tomorrow morning, but he'll be back. But I've really enjoyed getting to know him. I can't wait to get to work with him. He's got a lot of really special physical talents that I'm excited to go see if we can make better. And everything about him so far has been fantastic, and I'm excited to get to go further down into it.
Brian, your catalog of quarterbacks you work with is pretty extensive. What are some of the things you learned from guys like Peyton Manning, Stafford, et cetera, Burrow, that you want to bring to help Levis develop the way he needs?
Yeah, I've been incredibly fortunate to be around great players, and those guys all bring something different and unique. When you talk about Peyton Manning and his incredible ability to prepare, the attention to detail that he brought every single day, the intensity that he went about his job, those years I was with him showed me what it was like to be, what a great quarterback should look like. And not everybody's going to be him, and nor is anybody expected to be. But the foundation of how he went about his business was pretty incredible, and I've taken that everywhere I've gone. As far as the work ethic involved, the attention to detail involved, those things are really important. Obviously Matthew's a great player in his own right, and I learned that Matthew was very different from Peyton, but they were also great players, and you let those players be themselves. And I didn't try to make Matthew do anything that he didn't want to do. He's not Peyton Manning. Their personalities are different, but they're both great players. And what I learned, Matthew was an incredibly tough player. I've never seen a locker room rally around a player like him the way that they did when I was with him in Detroit. He's one of the toughest competitors I've ever been around. And so you see these traits everywhere you go, and you start to realize what it takes for quarterbacks to be successful. And I feel like I've got a lot of guys I've been around. Joe Burrow, obviously, been around a different version of Joe. I got Joe as a young player. A lot of these guys were veteran players when I was around them, and Joe's a remarkable player. He's got a great feel for the game, and so to have an environment as a young player where he was growing and having conversations about what he liked and didn't like really helped me learn how to be flexible with the approach for those players and put them in position to do well. As far as how they go about their daily routine, what they like conceptually and schematically, those conversations in the quarterback room are able to help foster hopefully a lot of success. And so,
Brian, I know I'm sure everything will depend on
yeah. I think the biggest thing that we want to do to start is put the players we have in great position. Let them be able to find their roles, define what those roles are for them, and put them in the matchups that we feel are to our advantage. That's a very broad, general offensive philosophy, but that's sort of the starting point. We want to be great detail in the passing game, route definition, route spacing. Want to be able to complete balls at a high percentage. That's always going to be the goal. The run game, we still want to be physical. Don't get that part twisted. That's been part of the Titans' identity for a long time, and it will continue to be. We'll be a physical football team, and we'll be able to run the ball the way we need to win football games. But that's probably the best way I could say it without going too far in the weeds.
You've been known as a guy who has been able to take quarterbacks and maximize what they do, like you mentioned before, even to the point of adjusting from Joe Burrow to Jake Browning in the middle of the year. What's kind of been the key to that you've found in terms of maximizing what a guy can do?
Communication. Being able to hear what quarterbacks are comfortable with, what they like. The offense is always going to have enough plays. There's always going to be enough scheme. And so you want to know what the quarterbacks feel great about. And Jake was incredible with his ability to communicate what he liked. We put those things in for him so he could have success. And that's part of what fosters a great quarterback room is the communication between myself, the coordinator, the quarterback's coach, and the quarterbacks in the room, is knowing what they like and what they do well. And we try to do as much of that as possible. So if a quarterback says, I don't like something, we're not going to use it, we're not going to call it. And that to me is the most critical part. If you have great feedback and great rapport and a great relationship with those guys, they'll do a great job of giving you the information you need to help them and put them in position to be successful. And Jake was fantastic at it, and obviously led to quite a bit of success.
What is your philosophy, Brian? What is your philosophy? What is your philosophy on defense? We heard a lot about your offensive stuff, but what's your defense philosophy?
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can talk defensively. We're working through, what that's going to look like for us by the types of people we're going to bring in. But at the end of the day, you got to have a very flexible and adaptable defense. You still have to be physical. You still have to run and hit. You have to tackle well. You have to force errors. There's a lot of things you can do that in the coverage structure game, in the pressure package game, where it makes it really hard on an offense. And so I know it gives me problems. I know the hard defense is the game plan against, and those are the things that I'm looking for in the style of defense we're going to play. Without getting too far down, a bunch of characteristics don't mean much until we put the pads on. But that's what I look for. Is what makes it hard for me as an offensive coach. That's the style of defense that I'm looking for.
Are you a 3-4?
Oh, they're multiple nowadays. Yeah, 5-man fronts are part of football. Whether you're a 3-4, whether you're an under front, there's going to be those types of players. Everything about the way the structure of the defense is built here is going to be pretty similar as a starting point. But I hesitate to put labels on what and how we're going to do it at this point.
How much has the idea of player feedback kind of informed your growth and development as a coach?
It's a critical part of it. I think players, they're the ones out there doing it, and you want to put them in great position. And so you want to know what they like, what they think. A lot of times players have great ideas. They come to the sideline in a game and have a suggestion, and usually when they feel really confident about it, it tends to work. And that's part of the communication that's involved from player to player, from coach to player. You have to have those guys feel like they're in a place where they can say what they need to say. And they don't listen to everything. It's not always exactly not everything they suggest works every time. But you want an environment where they feel like they can do that and feel like they can have input into what's going on, because they're the ones that have to go out and do it. And so if a player says, I don't understand this, how come we don't do it this way? Well, it's my job to explain why. And then if he just still doesn't understand it, I ask him, well, what do you think about it? And you can have a good dialogue, and a lot of times you're able to find a great solution to whatever the problem is you're trying to solve.
How would you describe, or how would you want others to describe your teaching style, your coaching style?
My coaching style is consistent. My demeanor is pretty consistent. I pride myself on being a great teacher. That's first and foremost. As a coach, that's all you really care about is how well can you teach and articulate to the players what they need to do. I have plenty of intensity. I'm a pretty laid-back demeanor most of the time, as you guys will see, but when it's time to make corrections and bring the energy that's necessary, I can do that. But my coaching style is a teaching coaching style. We're trying to make sure that our guys know exactly what to do, how to do it, and can go execute at a really high level and as fast as humanly possible.
Protection's been a huge issue here the last few years. Yeah. How confident are you in your ability to help identify players who can fix that, and how much schematically can you fix that?
There's a lot of things that go into protection. Some of it starts with as simple as you got to go win. You got to win versus tight coverage. Protection is an everybody problem. The quarterback's got to get rid of the ball on time. They have to work through progressions quickly. So to say that it's a specifically the offensive line needs to fix the protection problem, I don't agree with that. I think it's a holistic offensive issue if you have protection problems, and there's a lot of ways you can help weaknesses, highlight strengths, and everybody's involved in the process. As far as profiles of offensive linemen and players, obviously you're looking for the guys that are great at pass pro. You're looking for guys that can anchor, guys that got great length. We'll talk about all the traits at a later date, but schematically you can help a ton. You can chip, you can bang edges. Backs got to be fantastic in pass protection. They got to know who to block and how to block them. So it's a holistic offensive issue, and so our job is to find a way to make sure everyone knows all the specifics of what we're trying to get done, and then they can technically go execute it.
Some of those specific traits. Caller, Brian. Excuse me? I'm sorry, will you be the offensive play caller?
Yes, I will.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Twin Titans Sport Network. I am one of the hosts of none other than What's Shaking Titans. Joining me right over here, guys, right in the middle, you got your other host of What's Shaking Titans, none other than Massey Savage. And then right next to him, we got our official co-host, none other than Lee Hillis from the 615 Podcast. Boys, how's it going today?
Hi. Yes, sir. Going great, man. How you doing, Lee?
Pretty good.
Pretty good, guys. What y'all just listened to was a portion of the official press conference from your new head coach, Brian Calllahan. Already messing up already. Brian Calllahan from this afternoon at 1 o'clock. So, guys, once again, that was the press conference from 1 p.m. Central Time from none other than Coach Callie. Guys, definitely go check that out. Very inciting, very fulfilling as a Titans fan. It answered a lot of questions that I think we had as a fan base. So without further ado, boys, are y'all ready to break this down?
Always stay ready. Ain't gotta get ready.
It. All right, guys. So one of the things that stood out to me first and foremost was a comment he made about the run game. Because coming in here, we all expected, once we heard the news, okay, this is going to be a guy who's going to be very pass-oriented, pass-heavy, game in, game out. And one of the things that stood out to me is when he was asked about that, he brought up the running game. He said, we're still going to be a physical, dominant running game. It has been the Titans' identity, the identity of this organization. So, Massey, man, what's your thoughts and takes on that?
Yeah, I'm cool with it if it works. We know we have a really good key piece and running back in Tajay. Obviously, Derrick Henry's future is still up in the air. But we know we have Tajay Spears, and in my opinion, he showed a really good rookie season showcase. So yeah, I mean, by all means, if you want to stick to the identity of what this Titans team has been for years on end, by all means, go for it. But make sure it works, because as soon as it stops working, then he's gonna have to go into what he knows how to do, which is coaching how to throw the ball or coaching pass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, see, what he said fully about that was, and I'm excuse me, I'm paraphrasing here, guys. So once again, if you want to catch that full comment, you can go back to the beginning of the video and definitely check that out. We'll also be playing the interview later on in the show one more time. As we're bringing in our special guest for today's episode. So I want to give him a huge shout out. Well, our special guest for today is none other than Titans superfan Blueface. So, guys, also go over to Sport Nation Nashville. Check out Massey and Blueface over there. They do an awesome job. They have great content. Very, very well put together. Very proud of both of them, man. Just really excited for what the future holds for y'all. But anyway, back to the paraphrase, guys. The paraphrase, basically what he was saying is, they'll be taking it on a game-to-game basis. So basically what that means is if we go into a game and the run game ain't working, it's going to be a pass-dominant game.
Right, so pretty much what I just mentioned.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's cool, but make sure it's working, because if it's not, then we're going right back in the same pit we were just in for 2 seasons.
Yeah, most definitely. And then, guys, I'm going to the comments here. Blueface says there's a slight echo, so we're going to try and get that worked out. And then he also said this earlier. He said, fixing to get crazy, so most definitely.
Yeah.
Guys, it's been a really exciting, I guess would be the best way to put it. It's been an exciting day. What's something that stood out to you that the new head coach said today? And we'll toss it to Lee.
Yeah, back to what you were saying about the game plan somewhat. Dealing with keeping the running game going, or trying to revitalize the running game. And there was the talk about like the collaboration with Rand and the front office, and I love how he's approaching this. Yes, he's approaching it as a new coach, but there's a lot of room for him to grow going into year one.
Definitely. And if I could say, I know this is probably reaching a little bit, and I hope I'm not taking anything from my brother Blueface. I believe he said it first, but something that did stand out to me, which I just thought was cool. It wasn't necessarily what stood out to me the most in the interview or anything like that. The fact that his jersey number with jersey number with his name on the back was 24. I thought that was cool because, you automatically think Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest to ever do it, in my opinion. So I thought that, whether it was the reason he chose that number or not, that was like where my head first went. So I thought that was really cool. As far as the interview itself goes, man, I was really happy to hear how excited and happy he is to be here. You know what I mean? And how ready he is to get to work. And the most thing that stood out to me the most was him saying he loves connecting with people that he works beside every single day. And that's what you need in an organization, is everybody to be on the same page. It's called an organization for a reason. It's called a team for a reason. So, he did say some really good, promising things that made my heart happy as a Titans fan. Gary, what do you think about it, man?
Man, I agree with both of y'all. Like I said, it was very exciting. One thing that stood out to me was the level of passion he had, coming into the start of the press conference. Me and Lee kind of mentioned this to each other earlier. The way he was almost in tears, just kind of mentioning the people who's helped him get to where he is today. you know, to me, that was something that was really awesome to see. Just someone who is that passionate, you know, about the sport and about the game of football in itself. And then, guys, want to give a huge shout out. Also, just noticed this, but want to give a huge shout out to none other than Michael Bishop from the Power Hour of the Titan Upload Network, guys. So definitely go over there, check him out. He says, "What's up?" So what's up, Michael? Hey, Michael, if you caught the press conference, let us know what you're thinking. Let us know your thoughts on it. Let us know if it was exciting to you and what stood out to you the most. But yeah, guys, definitely go over, check out the Titan Upload Network. They do an awesome job over there. They have a great team, you know, between Lee, the Upload, Rossi, Michael. What is it? Titans and Truth.
No,
not
Titan. It's
Titan.
There's me, Titan Upload, Titans Rossi, Titans for Life, Power Hour,
yeah,
and Titans Time.
Titans Time. Okay, that's what I was thinking of. So yeah, guys, you know, just definitely go over there, check them out. You know, they do a good job. Really love tuning into them, especially on game days. They do a lot of live game coverage. I believe y'all doing postseason games as well.
I think there's a few.
Okay, yeah, so definitely go check that out.
I want to say it's 8:30 Eastern and maybe 9 o'clock Eastern. You can actually go over there and catch Titans Rossi, the Rossi Report tonight.
Yeah, we got to get Rossi back on here. I remember me and Blue had Rossi on, and it was awesome.
They're having two longtime Cincinnati Bengal fans and host on their own respective respected platforms this evening.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's gonna be something to check out, guys.
We are at 12.3 thousand.
That's what's up, man. So guys,
so we're making that push for 12.4.
Definitely.
Let's go.
Do it, man. Y'all can get there. Like I said, man, like if you put in the work and you're passionate about what you do, you'll succeed, you know. So I definitely believe y'all get there. And then Blueface in here, he said, Rand said the best part of the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, Rand said very little, but what he said was very meaningful. And, you know, I think that says a lot as well. And, you know, we'll kind of touch basis on this when we bring Blueface in, our special guest today, later on in the show. We're going to actually kind of really break down stuff that Miss Amy said about the interview process, as well as Bill, what is his name? The
Brian Calllahan.
No, the CEO.
Oh, I forget. I heard it on the radio yesterday, but I totally
I'm drawing a blank on his name. I apologize, guys. It'll pop up.
Hang
on. And then Power Hour came in here. He says the Titans are going with Callie. So yeah,
hey, speaking
Burke
of
Nihill.
Burke Nihill, thank you. Yeah, Burke Nihill, and they kind of mirrored each other in what they said. Miss Amy today, and then Burke Nihill yesterday on the RKW show on 104.5 The Zone.
And of course, shout out to RKW.
Oh yeah, definitely. They've been doing a phenomenal job.
You can catch them on
104.5 The Zone.
104.5 The Zone.
From 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, man, like I said, they've been doing a really awesome job. We were going to try and have the audio from Wesley Woodyard's time on yesterday. We were going to try and have that on so we could talk about that as well, guys, but I wasn't able to kind of clip that, but we're still going to talk about it. So if you want to check that out, you can go over to their YouTube page, or you can go on wherever you get your podcasts, go on to the RKW podcast show platform, and they definitely have that there where you can listen to the full thing. But we will definitely be bringing some of that to y'all here in a little bit. So with all that being said, guys, let's we got a lot to talk about today. So we're gonna start getting into this. We're already 40 minutes in, so let's knock this stuff out, guys.
Yes, sir.
So we talked about what what really stood out to us. Okay, so let's talk about our expectations for this new coaching staff. And with that being said, let's go ahead and drop the announcements that the two promotions that happened in house. So Rand Carthon gets promoted from GM to vice president, executive vice president, and GM. So Rand Carthon now has full, complete roster control from scouting all the way up to 53-man decisions. So this is, in all reality, this is Rand's show from now on out.
Yes.
And
that's what I can't wait to see, is how does he build this roster going into year 2 for him as the GM.
Yeah, most definitely. And then, Massey, I want to get your thoughts on this, bro. One of the things that Burke Nighthill said on 104.5 The Zone yesterday, and it's in regards to the receiver, core. And that's, hey, guys, we're no longer going after a wide receiver 1, a wide receiver 2, a wide receiver 3. But what we've decided to do is we're going after an X wide receiver. We're going after a Y wide receiver. We're going after a Z wide receiver. Now, guys, for those of you who don't understand that or who's never actually played football, those are your different wide receiver positions. And each one, like the X is going to be your post route receiver. Your Y is going to be the one that's on the inside. Your Z is going to be the one on the far outside. And they each have a little bit of a different role to them. So Massey, what's your thoughts on that?
So like you just said, the XYZ is basically like a 1, 2, 3. And not necessarily in that order. It don't have to be the number 1 receiver next to the 2 or 3. It's just like you just explained, Gary. It is the XYZ/1, 2, 3 receivers. So basically what I got from that means he's wanting to have a good receiving core along with a complementary, or to complement Will Levis, Tajay Spears, and things like that. I am all on board with that. Super cool with that.
Yeah.
With the XYZ receiver, things like that. But it's not going to do you no good if you don't focus your attention on that offensive line.
Most definitely.
Because what good is an XYZ receiver, a Will Levis, and a Tajay Spears if they have no time to get open, no time to read his, do his reads and throw the ball? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm definitely on board with the receiver talk, XYZ, things like that. But I also want to hear, and I'm looking forward to seeing the moves that need to be made for that offensive line too. Because if that don't get done, we bring in XYZ, we're in the same boat. Yeah, now we just got 3 really good receivers.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. And Lee, I apologize for interrupting you earlier. So go ahead, brother.
So the thing is, he was asked about protection for Will Levis. And he said that everybody has to protect some way, somehow. It's not only on the offensive line. So everybody who is saying that it's the offensive line's fault, it's completely misconstrued. It's not only on the offensive line. It's on the wide receivers. It's on the running backs that are having to block.
I mean, yes and no. You know what I mean? Yeah, receivers got to block, tight ends got to block, things like that. But if you go back and look at these last 2 seasons, where have our main issues? What side of the offensive line?
Left side. Ever since they parted ways with Taylor Warren, we have had a problem.
Yeah, but Taylor was a problem before we parted ways with him, just based on injury prone, not on the field.
But outside of the injuries.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna be really honest about the offensive line problems, it's not just that left side. You go back to the the very last game we had when, or it wasn't the last game. It was the game where Will Levis got hurt. It was the game. It was our second to last game. So
it was Houston. It was the game before Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Now if you go back and you watch that, not only did the left side collapse and give up pressure, but so did the right side. And then how many times did we see, and this is no shots on our center, but how many times did we see him get bull rushed right back into the quarterback's lap?
Aaron Brewer is gone.
So, I mean,
Andre Dillard is gone.
And
NPF is gone.
as they should be. They perform terribly. I mean, I'm sorry.
I hate to say it.
Like that, but they
I hate to
perform
say
terribly.
it.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. I feel like we're fixing to bring in Jonah Wells, the tackle from Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense. He
And,
does a really good job. You know,
Mike Kawanu, I think is how you pronounce it. The kid from New England. Bring him in to play right tackle.
Yeah.
Or put.
Yeah.
And if you can get your hands on Joe Alt, the rookie out of Notre Dame, at 7, you're setting yourself up for 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they thought the same thing with Peter Skoronsky, and I mean, he started out doing good, but then he started showing struggles.
After he had his appendectomy, he started struggling.
So I mean, I think guys, like, honestly, what you're looking at is an offensive line that needs help all around. It's an offensive line that doesn't have that true.
You need to implode that offensive line.
Yeah, and and ultimately, guys, this offensive line, it has lack of veteranship, lack of leadership, you know. And I know a lot of people have been out on Lewan for, you know, a few years before he even, you know, left the Titans. But the one thing I can say is if you would have kept Lewan, moved him to a backup behind Peter, then you'd been able to have somebody to help instill that leadership, mentor, you know, not only that, but help develop them into the culture, you know, of that locker room. And I think that you let go of your last 2 veterans that you had on that O-line at the same time, Ben Jones and
I would have kept Benny Boy.
Yeah, but I mean,
okay, and let me say this too. Aside from injuries, sorry, Gary, I didn't mean to cut
go
you
ahead.
off. Aside from the injuries, we got to be completely honest. When Taylor Lewan got that big contract, his play on the field went downhill.
It dropped.
Literally.
I was there.
Talk about it.
Me and Dad were having this conversation. Dad, love you. If you're watching, if not, still love you. Anyways, me and Dad were having this conversation, and Dad straight up said, he was like, you know what? Now that I think about it, Taylor Lewan's performance on the field really went downhill after he got that big contract. And man, that hit me because I was like, oh goodness, man, like you just made the most sense about Taylor Lewan. You know, so and I hate to put it like that, but that's exactly what it seemed like. You know, like I said, aside from the injuries, we know you can't help injuries, things like that. But it was like his performance, his attitude, everything like that. Once he got that big contract, just slowly started going downhill, and it eventually ended up to him not being on the team anymore. You know.
Well, the funny thing is, if you saw the comment on the Titans post from Delaney Walker, that he would be willing to come back and coach tight ends. I'd be all over that.
Yeah, you know, I was actually thinking that earlier, is bringing Delaney Walker back to help coach tight ends. I think that would be
great.
That would be great. But hey, I do want to go to our comments here because I see Blueface is killing it in the comments. So, bro, we appreciate you. Can't wait to get you back in here, man. And bro, this show's going to be fired up. We're excited.
Yes, sir.
But there is something that, you know, I do. Let me see if I can find it again.
But there have also been 2 more coaching hires.
As far as the O-line goes, he said, you know, we're talking about the O-line. He comments all Vrabel. He said plug and play, and then he also said when you got to talking about the contracts, he said, you know, so did Byard after he got his money, and
he started playing soft.
And I'll say this, guys, like you know, that is an accurate point. Is Lewan got paid, and his play went down. Byard got paid, and his play went down. You know, and then you look at Mike Vrabel, and I really don't want to give away too much about the whole Wesley Woodyard conversation that we're going to have later on in the show. But I will say this, you know, Woodyard did kind of come out and was talking about that, you know, about how, you know, the success he had when we went through what was it, 98 different players. And 2021 or 2022?
Yeah. 93.
93 in 2021, right? Yeah. And we finished with the best record we've ever had under Mike
12 and
Vrabel.
5.
You know, and I think ultimately it gave
And the number 1 seed.
And this is something that, you know, Woodyard kind of mentioned is it gave, you know, that gave Vrabel a big head. This is somebody who is already very big headed, you know, coming from Woodyard's mouth. Now, Woodyard is a player. So that's coming from a player under Mike Vrabel. That's not, you know, my opinion. That's not Massey's opinion, nor is that Lee's opinion. That's coming from an actual player who played for him, you know. And, of course, this is always going to be split. You're going to have those players like Lawan who love Mike Vrabel and think he's the best coach in the world. And then you're going to have players who, hey, didn't like what Vrabel was doing there, like Woodyard, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, Vrabel had that success. And, you know, when Lawan got hurt and then Ben Jones got hurt, at least Ben Jones played hurt and finished the season. But at the end of the day, I guarantee you, Mike Vrabel's like, oh, you know, I was able to plug and play and go 12 and 5. I should be able to do this again. I mean, and it just don't work like that. You've got to have dogs on your team. And if you ain't got them dogs on your team, you're not going to make it. You know? Yeah.
No, that's all facts, man. Lee, before we get you out of here too, brother, what's your whole opinion on the whole shebang too as well? Other than what you've already said.
The Woodyard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Well, the Woodyard and Brian Calllahan, just all of it.
Yeah.
Well, my thoughts on Calllahan, it's year 1. He's a new head coach. If he can rebuild this roster, there's no telling what could happen. If he can coach up Will Levis and coach him up right, you could be talking about a team that's scary. And then onto the whole Woodyard thing. Me and everybody else, even Titans and Truth, have said this. Vrabel's ego was going to be the downfall of this team. What happened? His ego got in the way, and we started losing left and right. We finished 2 seasons ago. We lost 10 in a row. We were sitting atop the AFC South at 7-3. We finished 7-10. Then last season we lost one more game than we did the year before.
Now,
and then let's go back to the AFC Championship game in 2019, where we had Dean Pease as our defensive coordinator. Supposedly Dean Pease wasn't calling that game. Mike Vrabel was. And what happened? We had a chance at going to the Super Bowl, but then Vrabel's ego took over and lost it.
I don't think Vrabel's ego had anything to do with Ryan Tannehill throwing 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, though.
But we were 5 minutes away from going to the Super Bowl that year.
Well,
5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, you know, as far as the last 2 seasons goes, and, you know, I get that everybody says Mike Vrabel has a big ego. At the end of the day, you cannot I don't care if it's a big ego coach or a coach that has no ego. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Bill Belichick or Andy Reid. You can't expect them to go to the Super Bowl with no one worthwhile on your roster.
Well,
and the last 2 seasons for the Titans, the last 2 losing seasons, we've absolutely had nobody outside of the likes of Derrick Henry and this year D-Hop. And then,
yep.
I mean, that's just honest, guys. We lost Harold Landry in 2022 for a full season due to ACL tear. And
before the season ever started.
Yeah. And then, you know, we were plug and play on defense, offense. I mean, and it was the same thing again this year. And that's not something that I would put on Mike Vrabel, only because, you know, they were still recouping from, well, you know, John Robinson's dumb decision making to having to try and fix and correct that dumb decision making this year. And you're not going to do that in 1 or 2 years. That takes 3 or 4 years to correct, and especially how many times we've missed out in the draft, how many times we've missed out on free agency when we signed a player, to a 2-year deal, and then we ended up letting him go because he didn't pan out after 1-year deal, and you're still paying him.
Yep.
We didn't have no cap room. I mean, I get that. And I'm not saying Vrabel wasn't at fault, because there's always two sides to everything. But all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, I don't think his ego had much to do with the circumstances here, because you can bring in another head coach and give him the exact same roster, and I think you're going to have the exact same struggles.
Yeah. So, that being said, this is a segment I'm also going to ask our special guest Blueface later. But Lee, while we have you, man, with what Gary just explained and said, as far as, a new coach coming in, what do you think will be, do you think he gets us a over 500 record this season? Furthermore, if he gets us over 500, if you think he's going to get us over 500, do you think that in his first season we make the playoffs? Or in your opinion, do you think, like Gary just said, it may take him a couple seasons, 2, 3 seasons, build everything up that he needs? So basically what I'm asking is, do you think him and Rand are going to put everything together they need to right away and make an explosion out next season? Or do you think it's going to take Brian Calllahan and them a little bit?
So this right here is an extreme hot take on this.
Yeah.
I think the Titans not only get above 500, I think they win the AFC South.
There you go. I like it.
In year 1 under Brian Calllahan.
There you go. Hey, bold prediction right there.
Bold prediction. Major bold prediction.
Someone has been asking record predictions under Brian Calllahan year 1.
See,
I said 10-7.
I like that.
I mean, I like that. The fan inside of me wants to be on board with that 100%. But
that's only if they turn it around.
Exactly. But I mean, you gotta.
But if they don't, I say 8.
Yeah, but you got to look at it like this. I think ultimately, at the end of the day, you're looking at a team that is literally having to be completely rebuilt. We have, from offense to defense, even special teams, are they going to be able to get every single piece they need that is going to change this team from a 6-11 team to a 10-7 team, or a AFC South championship team in one season? I don't think so. Even with the room that we have in cap space, I don't think that's going to happen.
They did it in Cincinnati with him as offense coordinator.
Actually, they didn't, because if you go back and look, the first 2 years he struggled. They struggled. One of those years they started 0-11,
and they beat us.
Yeah. So the point is I think Brian Calllahan, even Coach Callie, even alluded to this during the press. Yeah, Coach Callie even alluded to this in his press conference a little bit today, guys, and that was, hey, look, adversity. We got to learn how to go through adversity, but also be consistent. Because that consistency will lead you to a championship.
Yes.
The adversity will teach you things about yourself that you didn't know, and he even brought up that 0-11 season when he first came in there to Cincy, and he said that he really appreciated that time because it taught him things about himself. That's one thing that's another thing that really stood out to me, that I forgot to kind of bring up, but that's something that stood out to me as well. So let me ask you this, Lee. Is there a side in you that will sit here and be like, well, if he doesn't achieve your expectation, who do you put the blame on? Would you put it on him, Would you put it on Rand or would you put it on the roster?
Well, it depends on what they do this offseason. If they bring in the players and they still don't achieve those expectations, I'm putting on the coaching staff.
Oh,
but if they
Massey
don't,
went to timeout.
But if they don't achieve the roster, I would put on, if they don't really do anything with the roster, I'll put on the roster and Rand.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, at the end of the day,
because Rand is the one in charge of building this roster.
Yeah. And I mean, like, at the end of the day, I said this throughout the season about Vrabel, and I'm going to stick to my guns on this. And we said it at the end of the season, too. You can't expect someone to make lemonade with no lemons.
Well, I'm going to say this.
And I like my lemonade.
I'm going to say this, of course. I'm going to say this before I get out of here. Brian Calllahan has more cap space in a season than Vrabel did. He's got a higher pick than Vrabel ever did. So it depends on what he does with that money, or what they do with this money, and what they do with this pick at 7. Do they trade up and grab Marvin Harrison Jr., or do they stay at 7 and draft an offensive tackle?
Well,
hey man, you're trying to take all my segments for later. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, now that you bring that up, let me ask you this, Massey, and you can kind of shoot it over to Lee when you're done as well. Because you bring up a point, about Vrabel not having, that high of a draft pick, Vrabel not having that much cap space, and all that is very, very true. What's up, Blue?
What's up, Blue? Just popped up in here.
Guys, so our screen is a little jacked up.
What up, dog?
We'll definitely get that fixed in just a few minutes. So you're going to have to deal with the split faces for now.
I can back out if I need to real quick. I didn't know it was going to put me in there.
Oh, you're good, bro. You're good. Well, as soon as Lee backs out, everything will correct itself. But yeah, so he said it looks good on you.
No, it looks good on my end. On YouTube.
Okay. So here's my question to you guys. Lee and Massey. And Massey, you answer first. But with that being said, we know that in Vrabel's tenure here, it was either Rand Calllahan or it was John Robinson who had that decision making when it came to the draft, and they were also responsible for our cap space. And I'm sorry, but John Robinson did a crappy job at managing that. And of course, I think even when he came in, we were in if I'm correct, Lee, you can correct me on this, but when John Robinson came in, we were in a pretty tight spot cap-wise as it was.
Yeah.
So, I think where we are now is almost uncharted territory for the Titans. What's your thoughts on that?
So what exactly is your question? I mean, as far as we're, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So the question is, what is your thoughts on, because what Lee was saying was, Mike Vrabel never had this opportunity, so it would have to go on Rand's head.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is, with us kind of charting in this unnew territory here, having this much cap space, having this high of a pick all in one offseason, if he's not able to correct what is wrong here, do you put that blame on Rand, or do you think that it's just something that takes time? Like, what is your thoughts on the whole thing?
Okay, I got you. Yeah, that's a really good question. So it has to fall on Rand, just like Lee said. It has to fall on him because he literally has the reins to the horse right now. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah.
If things don't get fixed, I say maybe a season or two. Let's see how this coming season goes. Go from there. You know what I mean? It's 100% going to be on Rand Carthon, whether Ryan still has some type of say so, or if he doesn't, in whatever moves that Rand makes, it's going to fall back on him. You know, he just got promoted for a reason. And like Lee said, he's got all the calls. He makes all the calls now, aside from what Amy makes on her own. So, yeah, I definitely feel like it would fall on Rand. Lee, what about you, brother?
Yeah, I'd already mentioned this about the Vrabel never had this much really had this much cap space to work with. It's somewhere between like 85 and $95 million in cap to work with. Vrabel never had that. And Vrabel also, I don't think, ever had a top 10 pick in his tenure. So
I'm pretty sure he did. I think we traded it though.
I think you might be right, Blue. Because we had the two first round draft picks. No, that wasn't under Rand, was it? Or J-Rob, was it?
That was under J-Rob, but that was before Vrabel.
Are you sure?
No, because Vrabel and J-Rob came in at the same time.
Yeah, they came in at the same time.
Then who was
I thought they did. Nobody knows.
Exactly. Gorge.
Nobody knows. Well, guys, while we have a second, I'm going to go ahead and say it. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button over there on YouTube. Turn on all your notifications. Share this thing out to everybody. If you're in here right now, man, we super appreciate you guys. So far, it's been a great episode. Looking forward to the rest of it as well. Got our special guest, Blueface, over here in the building. So, guys, like I said, if you haven't already, go over there and hit that like button, subscribe, share this thing out, turn on the notifications so you know every time we're going to be live, go live, post shorts, post videos, all that fun stuff, and also do the same thing over there on Facebook if you haven't already, brothers and ladies. Sorry.
So wait, what year was it? What year was it that J-Rob and Vrabel took over?
Vrabel came in 2018.
So he was for the 2018 draft?
Yeah.
Oh, that was doo-doo. That was garbage. Oh, the only good thing that came out of that was Landry.
The last high draft pick we had was that we actually used was Mariota.
Chris Gronsky was pick 11.
I'm talking about top 10 picks.
Yeah.
I think what did we trade Traylon Burks for? Wasn't that a top 10 pick?
17, 18?
Yeah, we moved to 18.
From like 26.
Garbage. Like,
well, guys, with that being said, we're going to go to a quick
Hey,
break.
Corey Davis was pick number 5, by the way. The 2017 draft, he was pick number 5.
Okay.
Corey Davis.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was thinking of. That's the year we had.
That's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Because we wasted both those picks on Corey Davis and Adoree Jackson.
We sure did.
The guys that are no longer on this roster.
They ain't even in the league. I mean, Corey Davis ain't.
Yeah, he quit.
Adoree Jackson can say he's in the league, but he's not really in the league.
Yeah, he's up in.
He's playing in his own fantasy world.
Yeah, they're pretty good on Madden.
Cheat code. Left, down, up, right, X, circle, triangle.
X, circle, triangle.
R1, R2.
I'm fixing to hop out of here and.
All right, Lee. Well, guys, Lee, we want to thank you for taking the time to join us today. But we definitely appreciate all your thoughts and comments, man. It was an awesome first half of the show. We're going to go to a quick break, guys, and when we come back, we're going to bring y'all an action-packed second half of this show. So once again, guys, we're going to be playing the press conference once again for y'all. After that, we'll be coming in, and me, Massey, and Blueface gonna kick it old school for y'all guys. It's gonna be the boys reunited once again. So a little throwback for y'all here on our end. So really excited to do that. Really excited to have Blue back on here. So it's gonna be awesome. We're looking forward to it. With that being said, guys, we'll see y'all back here in just a moment.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. And wow, it's been an exciting week. I am thrilled to be here to introduce our new head coach, Brian Calllahan. And going into this interview process, we knew Brian was a really special candidate. We knew his background and his extensive experience. We saw the list of quarterbacks he's worked with and elite offenses he's been a part of. We knew about his deep knowledge and understanding of the game. And on a personal note, I knew that we both shared the connection of having fathers who passed down their love of football to their children. And after all that research and the reviews of people whose lives and careers he has impacted so deeply, then we got to meet Brian. He exceeded all of our expectations. It was clear how the meeting quickly shifted
I said when I came in
from
at
your
first,
standard interview to a player breakdown session
when I first
that
came in,
he
I had
and
it pulled up on
Rand
YouTube too.
had a very special chemistry between them. Honestly, watching that interaction unfold made us even more confident as our next head coach. As our second interview went on, we realized that we didn't want him leaving the building without agreeing to be our next head coach. I've heard various things about me grabbing him and grabbing his legs, but anyway, it was a mutual thing here. When it came time to ask him, we were so happy to learn that he wanted to be a Titan as much as he wanted him to be. We are thrilled that we get to enter this next era of Titans football with him at the helm. As I've said time and time again, I will never shy away from saying that I have extremely high expectations for our football team and really our entire organization. I expect us to build a team that is going to have sustained success and bring Lombardi trophies to the city of Nashville. I am confident that we have put the right pieces in place to bring that goal to life and build a future that Titan fans will be proud of. With that, I'd like to introduce the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, Brian Calllahan.
This is a pretty surreal moment for me. I need to fix this for you. Is that good? You don't get to these places in front of rooms like this with incredible people sitting here watching this without a lot of help along the way. And so I want to make sure that I point out the people that have done that. And most importantly, you're going to have to bear with me because it might be a little more difficult than I thought it was before I got up here. This really is a lifelong dream of mine to be standing at this podium in front of everybody here. To be a head coach at the highest level, to be this franchise's head coach is a great responsibility and an incredible honor. I'm excited to put in the work and hard work necessary for us to be able to have the success that we all envision. There's great things about Nashville, and there's great things about the Tennessee Titans, and part of my job is to make sure that we bring all those things to life. I'd like to thank first and foremost Amy, Kenneth, and Barclay for giving me this.
What's going on, everybody? I am one of your hosts of What's Checking Titans, and I got right beside me my brother Gary and our special guest Blueface up in the building, guys. This is an awesome episode that we are going to continue to unpack for you guys. Give me 1 second real quick. I want to give a huge shout out. We are officially launching Twin Titans Network, guys. this is a part of what Shaking Titans is going to be a great system. This is going to help us get our name out there and things like that, guys. And also, while I have a second, I'm going to go ahead and shout out Temu. It is our affiliate sponsor. If you're new to Temu, you'll see this link right here on the screen. If you click this link in the description, it'll take you to the Temu. It'll take you to Temu where you can set up your account and be able to get $100 coupon bundle to go towards any purchase. The promo for the Temu promo code is TN83620. If you type that promo code in when you go to Temu to make a purchase, that will give you 30% off site wide. So, guys, let's go ahead and get the rest of this show on the road. Bringing in Gary Bailey back and bringing in Titan superfan Blueface. What is up, my bros? Are y'all ready for this show?
Bro, I am super pumped. I am super excited. This is a throwback show right now. Man, it's awesome to be reunited with the original OGs of what's Shaking Titans. So, with that being said, Blue, how's it hanging, bro? It's been a while since we got to catch up.
Yeah, man. Just been chilling, trying to, work on my own show and keep consistent with that too. We did like a week full of like episodes. I think we missed maybe 2 days, 1 week of doing an episode, and actually going live. So that was super fun. Um, but yeah, we got a big 2024 lined up, and just trying to, stay focused on being a dad and, keeping my head above water too, man, while watching this team try to stay above water too.
Yeah, facts, bro.
Yes, sir.
Facts, man. Dude,
Yes, sir.
just want to once again give you your creds because what y'all been doing over there on Sport Nation Nashville has been awesome, man. So guys, if y'all haven't had the chance to go over and check out Sport Nation Nashville, definitely go give them a follow on all their social media platforms. Definitely on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe to their channel because they do an awesome job. You don't only get football, you get all kinds of sports, you get all kinds of stuff. They're doing an awesome job, so really proud of both of y'all. Keep up the good work. Man, Blue, we were in here. I know there's a lot that you wanted to talk about. You were killing it in the comments. So let's start off right at the rip, man. What stood out to you the most about Brian Calllahan and this press conference?
I think he seemed like, for me, he seemed like he was a pretty, credible guy. Like he seemed like he, had his emotions into, the press conference. Of course, when he brought up, former people that he used to work with, coaches that kind of helped, mold him into, who he was and stuff like that. But I think like the biggest thing was that, when he started talking about the type of organization that he was going to build, like, how he wanted it to be, a put together and a well connected organization. I think that's something that we've heard several of the players. You guys were talking about the Wesley Woodyard audio or whatever, the footage from when he was on the radio the other day, and he was talking about Vrabel, and it wasn't as connected as a organization as what a lot of people thought, and maybe Vrabel was too hard on guys and worked guys too hard, and just essentially used them until he couldn't use them anymore. So I think that's important for the players to hear. Not as much for the fans, but as people inside the organization, that this is going to be a connected organization. That's what he enjoys most about the job, is connecting with people inside the organization and the players and stuff like that. So that was a good thing to hear after hearing some of the wrong or negative stuff that was going on with Vrabel and some of the players and people in the organization.
Yeah, most definitely. And, with that being said, one of the things we really didn't kind of get to break down or go into is talking about, what should Coach Callie's next move be, when it comes to hiring, an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, the whole 9 yards, Let's kind of get into that. We'll start out with Massey. Massey, take the lead on this, bro. I shouldn't be doing this.
No worries, man. So yeah, that's a really good question. That was that was actually in the direction I was fixing to go to ask Blue as well. So like Gary just asked, what do you think? And I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. What do you think our draft pick should be?
Draft?
The first one.
That First round, I don't. I think I'm going defense first round. For me, there's some exciting. I feel like defensive backs, and that's a area that I feel like we're struggling in. I don't know what the free agency market looks like for defensive backs, but I know it's probably thin. And
Yeah.
I think that's a definite area that we need to address. I mean, you think about, and there was another clip of Callahan, and he was talking about, top offenses and what they do. They have a, good quarterback, that likes to air the ball out, and all this other stuff. So if you're going to be a great team, in my eyes, you're going to have a great defense that can counter those great offenses, and that's something
Woo!
that we
Talk about
lack
it.
tremendously, man, is defensive backs and secondary help. We have a good defensive front, Jeffrey Simmons and Harold Landry. You re-sign Autry. I feel like those are key things that you can keep together, and that's a piece that already has chemistry. The O line, you're obviously going to have to build that from scratch. But as far as like a receiving court, maybe Callahan can fix Burks. I don't know that. I know that he worked with Jamar Chase. I don't know that the he couldn't see the ball thing and all that stuff was true or not before he came into the league. But he did work with Jamar Chase. He's worked a lot with T Higgins as well. Two great players, but he was part of their career as they came up in Cincinnati and stuff. So maybe he could fix Burks and stuff. But I think the receiving core, you can address that later in the draft maybe or get something in free agency. But I think defensive back is probably the first priority that we should get for in the draft. I think that you can pick some pieces out of free agency for the O line and kind of fix that a little bit with some veteran guys rather than trying to bring in all fresh guys out of college and teach five new guys how to play offensive linemen in the NFL. That's a tough task, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So that was a very great answer, and I feel the exact same way. I definitely think we need to focus on our defense. I know our offensive line needs some help, but there's different ways that you can work on that outside of the draft. So that was a great answer, man. Love it. So I was listening to the radio yesterday, and they were talking about what if we drafted a wide receiver first? And in my opinion, like you just said, that's something that you can work on and fix like down the road. I think your first draft pick needs to be a wide receiver, in my opinion. So,
It's a hard
anyways,
one though. Where if
go
you
ahead.
and if you stick it where you're at, I feel like
Right.
if our draft pick stays where it is. Now, if we move up in the draft somehow and the Bears want to do some fleecing thing and take Traylon Burks and whatever and our first round pick for this year and next year, I don't know what happens. But if we move up in draft picks, man, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is available, I think it's best player available at that point. Like I'd go against what I'd said before on the defensive back thing. Um, if you're higher up than and he's available, I definitely think you have to get Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that's just a generational talent. But picking where we currently are, I don't think he'll be available. So I'm going to go with like a Kool Aid McKinstry or something like that from Alabama
Yeah,
and stick with the
Okay.
defensive back.
I agree with that 100% on the Kool-Aid comment. I've been saying this whole
Yeah.
during the whole season, like, hey, Kool-Aid needs to be the guy we go after. Like that needs to be our first round draft pick, regardless. We defense wins you championships games. Defense will win you a Super Bowl. You can go out here and put up all the points in the world, but at the end of the day, if you can't prevent another team from putting up points, what good does it do? Kool Aid,
Yeah.
I feel, is a very talented defensive back who can come in here and
He's a
safety, right?
he comes he co- no he's a defensive back, but he comes from a school like you got to think the Saban defense and like
Yeah,
Alabama defenses that program, like he comes from a place where like he's already like halfway developed. You don't have to pick and poke at him and try to develop him, into something that he's not because he's going to come out and show you who he is and his talent's going to speak for itself, I feel like. And
yeah.
that's just, that goes the same for Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, like we know what his dad was,
Oh
and
yeah,
we've seen
yeah,
his son do it in college. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's just generational talent, guys, that you have to look at your roster as a whole and then look at who's in free agency. And I think Rand is getting the control of the team for the reason that he's got that eye to be able to look at everything as a big picture and not just at one slate and get stuck down this hole of, well, I should go draft Joe Alt because Joe Alt is a left tackle, and everybody hates our left tackle. That's all we heard about was our offensive line. So now I'm going to go draft another offensive lineman in the first round that doesn't pan out, and then everybody's going to be mad at me, and then I lose my job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I feel like has happened a lot.
Right. And or go ahead, Gary. I'm sorry.
Well, I do want to kind of throw this in there while we're on the subject. You're talking about having these once in a generation players who don't have to be developed much in the press conference. One of the things that I really loved hearing come from Coach Callie was, hey, we, especially regards to the quarterbacks, because what have we seen with the quarterbacks? Marcus Mariota, they tried to force him to be someone he wasn't. Malik Willis, they tried to force him to be somebody they wasn't. And even in Will Levis's game, you could see where they were trying to force him to play like he really wasn't, because Levis has some speed to his legs. Let's not get that tripping, And there's a lot of stuff that you can use. Now, granted, our O-line was garbage, and you really didn't want to put him out there to get him hurt. But you got to let these guys go out and play their game the way they like to play it. And, that's the one thing we heard for the first time.
Those were problems that just got brought on by the coaching staff and the former GM, though. The offensive line, they completely destroyed their offensive line, man.
Yeah.
Piece by piece. They destroyed them. Like, that goes back to the plug-and-play player thing, man. Like, Vrabel liked that. It was like a kink for him. Like, I'm going to get the worst possible guys that I can put on the roster, and I'm going to play with them. That way, when I do good, everybody's like, oh, I'm a great coach. But when I do bad, then I have something to fall back on and say, well, my team was crap.
Yeah, and I mean, that's like the Wesley Woodyard comment where he was basically saying, hey, Mike Vrabel, when we won games, what did you hear? Oh, Mike Vrabel won us this game. Not the players won us this game. At the end of the day, Mike Vrabel's not on that field making plays. It's the players out there making plays, But we always gave the credit to Mike Vrabel, and I think the whole reason of that is because we aren't like, the Bengals or the Chiefs. We don't have a bunch of them, like I said earlier, dogs on our team, and of course in 2021, that was probably Vrabel's doing, having to coach a bunch of.
We had a bunch of dogs, man.
We did.
We had a bunch of dogs. Ben Jones was a dog. Ben Jones was aging out. Yeah, Ben Jones was old, but Ben Jones was a dog.
Yep, and then
one of the best centers in the game.
Our right tackle we used to have, Jack Conklin.
Saffold.
No,
Saffold was a good one.
Saffold was good. I mean, bro, that was a legit O-line. And they decided.
And not just Vrabel, but J-Rob and Vrabel, piece by piece, picked apart that O-line until it was nothing but Taylor Lewan on that O-line. Of course he started having injury problems because they were sending 2-3 guys at him every time that we snapped the ball.
Yeah, because it was all Henry in the backfield.
He's getting run over.
I mean,
So, to furthermore, as far as the draft and things like that, if we do draft a receiver in the first pick, what should be our next move? Whether it's in the draft or through free agency or through trading, what should be our next move if we do take a receiver? I know you said earlier,
if you pick one.
Yeah, like if you were able to say, or what do you think the Titans' next move should be if they take a wide receiver in their very first pick?
Okay.
Not like I said, don't necessarily have to be their next draft pick, but what do you think would be a good key move for them to do if they do take a wide receiver for their first pick?
Oh, if the guy is Marvin Harrison Jr., then you trade Traylon Burks. You go ahead and move on from that show. I think that's just the thing. If you pick another wide receiver first, then you have to move on from Traylon Burks, or somebody in that wide receiver core is a trade option because I think NWI has more value than Traylon Burks, honestly. But that's just my personal opinion. I feel like he has more trade value.
At this point, so does Cal Phillips. and that says a lot. I mean, that's a little
Mason
bold,
Kinsey
but
probably does for sure.
oh yeah.
Mason Kinsey definitely does, bro. But no, I think that if you draft a wide receiver, I think the next thing you do is you trade a guy for some draft picks later in this year's draft.
Yeah. Now,
I know Traylon Burks doesn't have immediate value, but I mean the guy was drafted in the first round. Like he has potential. Something just doesn't work here with him. Maybe move him to somewhere where he can breathe better, or whatever he's got going on, man. It's not working here.
yeah.
So I think if you move on from him, I think you get some later draft picks. Maybe you can plug in some other pieces that we need. There's going to be offensive linemen all over the board. So I feel like, a fourth round pick, something, fifth round pick or something, like we'll still be able to get a guy that we can develop because we're going to have a new offensive line coach too. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know, man. What's your thoughts, Gary?
So, man, I don't think we need to go receiver first round because I'm on board with something that me and you kind of shot to each other. You sent me a picture, but that's T. Higgins. I think we should be on the T. Higgins watch. You join T. Higgins with D Hop with the likes of Will Levis throwing the football, and then you focus on rebuilding your O line. You focus on, if you don't think Chig is going to be able to correct his woes, if you don't think Josh Wiley's going to be able to bounce back from a, I would say less than satisfaction of a rookie year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you have to address the tight end, but most importantly, the most important thing is the defensive backs, cornerbacks, safeties. If we can't stop the other team from throwing over our heads, then we're not going to be able to contend in any of these games. I don't care how good our offense is or looks. How many times did we have a good offense with the likes of Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and A.J. Brown? And we would be up 20-something points, 30-something points, and then we end up losing that game because the other team was able to just run up and down the field on us because we couldn't stop them.
And we'd get conservative. A lot of that was conservativeness. I'll say it eventually.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of that was that, Nah, a lot of that was being just too conservative with play calling. I felt like and that was a lot of the thing with Vrabel too. Like after we got up by 10 to 14 points, 10, 13, 14 points, like it was pretty much like, all right, we'll run the ball the rest of the game. If they catch up, then we'll throw it at the last second, and hopefully it's not an interception.
No,
hopefully.
You've got to keep I don't care if it's on offense or defense, but you got to keep your foot on that throttle the whole game. And if you let off, then of course the other team's going to come back and bite you in the butt.
Mike McDaniel's in the Dolphins. Perfect example of that against the Broncos this year. I mean, like, keep your foot on the gas, dude. Just go, bro. Like, why stop? I don't understand stopping, bro. If you're sour about it, bro, then you're sour about it after the game, dude. Like, Arthur Smith, bro, and Mike Vrabel, bro, maybe they were the perfect match. Maybe those two are just meant to be. I heard that there was reports that wherever Mike Vrabel gets hired at, Arthur Smith is open to go and be the offensive coordinator there.
Yo, so how about Mike Vrabel getting blacklisted so far? Like, so he goes and he interviews with the Chargers, and then the very next day they hire Jim Harbaugh, and then they announced today this morning that Mike Vrabel was set to go interview with the Panthers, and then I kid you not even 2 hours later, the Panthers hire a head coach.
The Falcons hired a head coach, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and I think he was set to have an interview there too, or already
He's
an interview.
The defensive coordinator from the Rams is the head coach of the Falcons now.
which leads me to believe, like that.
Mike Vrabel's not coaching this year, bro. Bill Belichick's not coaching this year. That mentality, that coaching system, that breed, it's done, bro. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to build a team. Nobody wants to be talked to the way that them guys talk to people. Nobody wants to work with them guys the way that those guys work. Nobody wants to build a team with those guys. Rand Carthon said something. He said it's one thing when two different people are hunting. He said, but it's a different thing when two people are hunting together,
Ooh, facts.
and
Okay,
that's what they're doing here now.
And I think
so you say that, but what about the interview that Derrick Henry had on Bussin' with the Boys, where he straight up sat there and said he was surprised Vrabel just got fired, and he was also a very good coach. He knew how to coach the players. Derrick Henry, one of the arguably the best running backs to ever do it, sat there and said Vrabel was a good coach. So I mean, it's hard for me to
Yeah, I'm
believe.
not saying he's not. I'm not saying he's not a good coach. This just ain't the place for him. Maybe go
so.
do that in Seattle, bro. Maybe that's the organization fit for you
So
is Seattle. That's the only place left that needs a coach. So you better hurry up and get out to
I think
Seattle. I'd be on the first plane out there, but
Yeah, no, more so referring to you saying like, oh, the players didn't want to be talked to like that or coached like that. Well, Derrick Henry himself said he thought Vrabel was a great coach. So I mean, I don't
yeah.
see.
And Derrick Henry comes from Alabama. He comes
yeah,
from Nick
from
Saban. Like
from someone who has that
Yeah,
same type of coaching stats,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
why there's guys that were in New England that can relate to Vrabel, and they're like, oh, I think Vrabel's a great coach, like blah blah blah. Yeah, because you're used to that, because you're used to Belichick riding your ass too. So it's like, oh well, that'd be cool. He rides it a little bit softer. I mean, at least like he's not
yeah.
as tough. Like
Well, I'll
Yeah,
put it like
so
this: if you look at it at the end of the day, this is how you can kind of sum all this up. You know, back in the day, the type of coaching style that Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, Nick Saban had, was very popular. But
yeah.
we as a society have transformed into more of a softer generation. You can't go out here. You can't. There it's far few in between when you find those tough nosed people now. Now you can call some jokingly you can call somebody a dork and it offends them and oh I'm gonna sue you or I'm gonna go out and get shot nowadays. I mean, look how soft society has gotten is what I'm saying.
So,
And it's
no, but I mean,
translating
Amy said that. She said this isn't her dad's league anymore. This
exactly.
is a different
This is
league
a
now,
different
man. Like
league now.
straight up said it too. No hesitation, man.
so. I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff that's going to come out with that, but I think, like you said, man, it's gotten soft and like an explosive offense is more dynamic than the. I feel like the defense part of the game is right now.
Yeah.
Right. So
But
with all that,
that does say a lot because you have the top three teams in the playoffs right now, all except for the Lions, with pretty stout defenses: Kansas City, San Francisco, and Baltimore. But they have explosive offenses that if you're missing a linebacker, if you're missing a D lineman, if you're missing some guy in the secondary, they're gonna find that part, bro, and they're just gonna pick it apart the whole entire
Yep.
game, and they're not gonna stop till they beat the hell out of you.
Yep.
And that's
yeah,
why they're in the position they are to go where they are. I mean, that's exactly why.
yeah, yeah, no doubt, man. So with all that we've talked about so far, man, this leads me to my next segment. How do you think we will do in the next season or two under Brian Callahan and just so far that the moves that we've seen be made? I know it's only been Vrabel gone, Callahan coming in, a couple promotions, things like that. So my question is, how do you think this next season is going to be, and then also moving forward? If it's a good season, they're going to keep rolling with Callahan. So I was just wondering your opinion and thoughts on that one.
This is like I don't know, call me like biased or whatever, bro, but like I feel like if Callahan and Carthon keep putting the pieces together like they have so far, things keep transitioning in the way that they have. That this team is probably poised for a one seed. Um, this could be a top tier team in the AFC. This could be a definite Super Bowl contending team. There's a lot of pieces that need to be plugged in still. Offensive coordinator needs to probably be changed. I'm sure Tim Kelly's not here. Defensive coordinator gone. Offensive line coach, huge one. That's a huge one that needs to be fixed. And then there's some players that you need to plug in as well. I think there's some guys that you could re-sign and that you could mold differently and that you'd be able to coach up with the Callahan coaching style and just the way that he helps, players progress and stuff like that. He was super beneficial with, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, and even Joe Mixon, and helping getting his game going and stuff like that. So I think that he's a huge hire for us, and I think that we could definitely win a one seed, man. Just with the work that he's done with quarterbacks too, man. Peyton Manning, Derek Carr, Joe Burrow, like I just mentioned. He won a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. So, uh, and he was very tight knit with Peyton. They had special meetings together. They were very close. Knit, and Peyton spoke highly on him. So those are great signs for Levis. Like him already saying, it was a few days ago when he called and talked to Will Levis. Like that's awesome that's the first thing that he's into. It's like, let me get a hold of this quarterback. He's probably freaking out right now. Like he just got here. Like he's got talent. Like he's a great kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he needs help, and like this team obviously wasn't built for Will Levis when he came in. It was built for Derrick Henry. So I think that was cool that he called, to kind of touch base with Will Levis, and let him know like, hey man, we're coming in, we're going to do everything we can do to help you, succeed, and we're going to get the best effort out of the entire team that we can, and put something out there that you can work with. So that was super cool to see that he did that for Will. So just all the stuff coming together, bro. It has great energy around it. I feel like we're poised for a one seed, but definitely going to win the AFC South this year, most definitely.
So you think they'll be able to do this in one off season?
Oh yeah, it's happening this year.
Okay, I gotta. I'm gonna put you both on the spot right here, right now. Let's get a win-loss record prediction from both of you. Just this is as of right now. We can change it as moves get made and things like that moving into next season. But as everything sits right now, what do y'all think our win?
17 games. 17 games win-loss record. Man, I'll say 11-6.
I like that. What about you, Gary?
I have to say, I think because
no, I ain't gonna hold y'all, bro, because we really don't have that much. If we look at our schedule, man, we really should win majority of our games. And if most of our problems were based off coaching, there's no reason why we can't go 14-3 next year or better. There's no reason, man.
But most of our problems wasn't just from coaching; it was also player personnel as well.
Is it though? Is it the players, bro, or is it the development of those players? Is it just that Mike Vrabel can't hire staff? Like
it's probably
his staff was.
I think you're looking at a mixture.
Go out there and perform.
Yeah, you're looking at a mixture of everything. I mean, even Wesley Woodyard came out and said at the end of the day, it's not the coach who wins the games; it's the players. If you
but you have to develop somebody. Who has he developed?
I mean, exactly.
That was his problem.
I get that, but at the same time, you do have to realize is from all the J. Robs moves. We talked about it earlier. I think that this roster has a lot of turnover that has to happen from the O line to the secondary. I mean, you're looking at possible tight ends that's going to have to come in. You're looking at additional wide receiver help. There's a lot that has to take place.
I'm not touching the tight ends. I'm not touching tight ends this year.
You're looking at what this past year was Chig's sophomore slumps, and it happens. So
even if they suck again, let them suck again this year. I don't feel like you can afford to mess with tight ends. I don't feel like you can afford to spend any extra money on no tight end.
Exactly.
There's no draft pick for no tight end. I don't think that's
every move that they make is going to have to be spot on. And before I get into that, because I want to ask you something that I asked Massey and Lee, on our last episode. But before I do that, I think my record prediction would be 9-7. I think we're going to be an improved team from what we were, the past two seasons. I think you're going to start to see the road to their vision of what they want this team to become. I don't think we'll be able to achieve all that in one offseason without shooting ourselves in the foot, and going out here and making the same mistakes, signing certain free agent players to these deals that if they don't pan out ends up costing you later on. I think that you have to strategically make every move count this offseason. And if you do that, then you're going to start seeing that ship corrected. But I don't think that we're going to make it to a championship. I think, maybe a playoff berth again if we're lucky.
Yeah.
But I think that we will start to see that coming up in year 2 and year 3 under this coaching staff and under Ren Carthon having full, roster stay. Now, as the fan side of me, I do want to say this. The fan side of me hopes we go out and win 17 straight, That'd be the...
Well, a lot of it, and look, while a lot of it, guys, is on, like both of you guys said, it's on, player personnel, some of it's on coaching, and like you have a mix of that stuff. But a lot of it's on the fans too, guys. Like,
Yeah, we got to come
Callahan
out
came
and
out and said
support.
today, like, got to make that place, fearful, man. Like the most feared stadium in the NFL. Like, make that place loud. Make it, like, make people feel that energy, bro. Like when you're in there, like that's how Kansas City and stuff is, guys. That's how Cincinnati. Cincinnati is a crazy stadium,
dude.
Like they have energy, though. It's not top tier stadium. It's not the best built place. It's not. Like, but they have an energy about that team, and like they're excited about what that organization is doing. So I feel like that's the energy that Callahan, is bringing to us. I feel like that's the energy that Rand brings.
And he has a level of passion,
But we have to
man,
bring it
that's
to his
awesome.
fans. We gotta, step our game up too.
Let's match
So I'm
that
definitely
level
gonna
of
step my
passion
game
that
up
he
next year
has,
too.
Like he came
Yeah,
in
I'm
and
stepping my game up too. So
he came in and showed a level of passion that I don't think we've seen from a head coach, in a long, long, long time. And as a fan, that just makes me want to get out there and support them. And like you said, man, like take it up a notch, And you're absolutely right. We have a lot as a fan base that we can do to affect the game as well, And we just got to turn out and show up. We got to support our team. And one thing I'll go out and I do want to say this. I know this is Massey's whole part, but I do got a couple things I want to say real quick. And that's, first off, I'm going to address the fans. Guys, we got to stop being one of the worst fan bases in the National Football League. We've got to stop attacking each other. We got to stop all the hate talk and the down talk of people just because we have different opinions. So what? I mean, that happens. I mean, you're gonna have disagreements. You're gonna view things differently. At the end of the day, what do we root for the Titans for? Because they're our team. They're what we're passionate about. So we need to come together and become from one of the worst fan bases into one of the best fan bases in the National Football League. We need to show up at these games. We need to support our team. Nissan Stadium should not have an empty seat, period. To the point where by the time they're rebuilding this new stadium, they're going to wish they would have put more seats instead of less seats.
Sure. It's just like get that energy about you guys. They're excited. Like if you're excited in the stands, like I'm sorry, but if I was a player and I come running out the tunnel and I don't hear that energy from the crowd, I'd be like, dang, man, y'all ain't like, come on, man. Like, and nobody's getting hyped, bro. That's going to turn me down. I'd be like, well, man, like, yo.
Look, when
like, that sucks, bro.
When the Houston Oilers moved to...
Go ahead.
Okay, when the Houston Oilers originally moved to Tennessee, okay, we played in different college stadiums, around Tennessee. I want to say mainly Memphis, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's where they started at was Memphis. They got booed out of there.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
By not necessarily by our own fans, but like it was just so many like different fans from another team, opposing team. Nobody wanted to drive to Memphis. It's 3 hours from Nashville.
If you go watch a Football Life, I think it's Eddie George's A Football Life. He talks about how there were games where there were hardly 10, 15 people there. Guys, like. Look what happened when they opened. I think it was it originally LP Field when it opened?
Yeah. Well, after we played in Memphis, someone played in Memphis that one year. They went playing in Vanderbilt after that, and they had a little bit more success. And then they opened LP Field.
Yeah, And you look what
When they
happened.
opened LP Field, that was big.
That was really big, and the momentum we brought to this, we energized that team to the point where their first year in that stadium, we went to the Super Bowl for the first and only time in our franchise history. You know,
Thus the Flameheads were born.
Thus the Flameheads were born.
Do you remember those things?
Yes, dude. I used to have one back
They
in the
still
day.
make them, dude. Like, yeah. Be out there, bro.
Yeah. Now,
before that, all we had was like paper bags with like holes for the eyes that said "we suck."
Yep.
You know, like,
dude,
that was the thing. I'm not joking.
And also to follow up, I know it was just funny, but also to follow up what you guys are saying, you as not only as NFL fans, but especially as Tennessee Titans fans, you have to find a way to have some type of patience. You gotta be patient. You gotta let the pieces of the puzzle try and get put together. You gotta, yeah, I get it. 2 seasons, butt cheeks, as my brother Blue would say. You know what I'm saying?
Butt cheeks.
Terrible, right? So, yes, we just went through the 2 seasons. Cool. You got to find a way to be patient as a Tennessee Titans fan. Like my brother Blue says, once again, let Rand cook. Rand is cooking right now. His first major move was bringing in arguably one of the best offensive coordinators that was, you know,
I feel like that was the top hire.
Yeah.
Do what?
Besides Harbaugh, and that's just because he won a national championship, whatever, blah blah blah. Which is crazy. Full circle moment for him, man. Congratulations to him getting his job with the Chargers. Played quarterback for Michigan, went there and won a national championship with them as a coach. Played quarterback for the Chargers. Now he's back there coaching them. So that's super cool to see, actually. But like Callahan, man, has to be like, other than him, probably one of the top candidates.
I agree.
There's three AFC championship, three AFC championships, and he had 7 different divisional championships throughout the AFC. And then I think it was the AFC West. He won 5 times. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the other one was. I think it was the North, maybe AFC North. He won 2 times. And he's also got that Super Bowl victory with like Peyton Manning and stuff. So like, just that alone, man, it's crazy to me. Like, that he has all these accolades, and like, his dad, Bill Callahan, that was a big thing with Amy. I feel like, she said, with their connection was, whatever, her father passed down, his love of football and all that stuff to her, and she inherited the team and stuff like that, and ownership, and like how his dad, coached in NFL, and he went to the Super Bowl with the Raiders. His dad posted a first number 1 seed record when he was head coach with the Oakland Raiders back in 2002 to 2004, I believe was his span there. They did lose to the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, but not the point. They had a number 2 ranked offense in the NFL that year, and they also had a top of the league. I think it was like halfway in the league. Ranked defense, which you could have blamed that more on him being an offensive minded coach, which was probably the case, but arguably the best offensive line coach in NFL history. So I feel like that could be a big thing to watch for, as well as his dad coming to coach. I know that those two had talked about that, and with him being in Cleveland, some stuff could come up there. I know that there's financial stuff going on there with the Deshaun Watson stuff, and some signings, that their general manager made, and guaranteed money that they gave out to guys that, has kind of messed up their books. So maybe we can get his dad too, and he can help, fix this offensive line, man. I mean, I know I've talked to you guys both about his dad. I mean, like, how would you guys feel about, his dad coming here, helping with the offensive line, and maybe just being in general the offensive coordinator?
Yeah, I am on board 100% with that. I think you bring him in as the offensive, because that's where he's good at, is offensive line. So you bring him in as the.
Do you bring him in as the coordinator, or that's the like? So do you bring him in as the coordinator or the offensive line coach? Because if you bring in Munchak, then you could also plug in Munchak to this whole system too, man.
Yeah, because you look at both of them.
Built a great offensive line, and he's open to it.
Both of them are both some of the best offensive line coaches in national football history. And that's actually what I was about to get into. You know, he was asked during the press conference about bringing his dad in, and he said, he hasn't talked to him about it yet, and he really can't comment on it because he's still under contract. I personally would love to actually see his dad come and be our O-line coach, and then maybe have Malarkey come in and be the coordinator. I think that would be a 1-2 combo. That would be out of this world. And then the question is if they do that, who are they going to bring in to be the defensive coordinator? I think that's a really big question that all of us are wondering. By the sounds of it, is we're going to have a hybrid defense from now on, not just a 3-4 or a 4-3. It's going to be hybrid. It's going to be whatever we need to win that game. So that's going to be really interesting. But in order to do that, you're going to have one hell of a defensive coordinator. For sure.
Bring Dick LeBeau
That
back.
could, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I don't think that Mike Vrabel is going to be coaching this year. I don't. But I mean, I'm
He's getting
not out on
blacklisted right
Bill
now.
Belichick coaching somewhere. I could still see Bill Belichick coaching here, guys.
That would be.
I could still see that happening.
That would be lights out, bro.
If Bill
That would be
Belichick came in as if you give me Bill Callahan as your offensive line coach, go get me Munchak back as the offensive coordinator. Let Brian Callahan be the head coach, and then you give me Belichick at defensive coordinator. You might have sold me on it then, bro.
Yeah.
I'd probably be sold on Rand Carthon at that point, man.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Hell
For sure.
yeah.
And there is some better options. I mean, maybe Rand Carthon can talk to Deion Sanders. I don't know. I have no clue.
Earlier,
Maybe you could throw a bag at him.
Yeah.
you also brought up Brian Callahan having some time with Peyton Manning, and I thought that was awesome that you brought that up. I have right here, Peyton Manning himself told TennesseeTitans.com, he said, "I'm very happy for Brian." He said, "Brian was extremely helpful to me during my 4 years playing for the Broncos. When he and I were together, he is extremely hardworking, extremely intelligent, and just overall a great person. Not only did I benefit from coaching and all of the help that he gave me as a quarterback for the Broncos, but also thoroughly enjoyed being around him and coming to work every single day." He also said, "The quarterback room is a small room, and you've got 3 quarterbacks and usually 2 coaches in there. So Brian and I spent a lot of time in those quarterback meetings. So just enjoyed being around him. So very happy for him to get this opportunity. I think it's a great hire for the Tennessee Titans. I know he'll give the Titans everything he has." And guys, to me, that speaks volumes that Peyton Manning himself took the time out of his day or whatever it was to publish those quotes and those comments and things like that. So I would love to get Blue and Gary's opinion on just one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever do it, commenting on the Titans' new head coaching hire.
Yeah, Blue, I'll let you take the lead on this one, and then I'll kind of chime in at the end.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at earlier. When they won that Super Bowl together. Super Bowl 50, I believe it was. That was just to tighten it, kind of thing. That's what he wants to create here. So I'm all for Callahan, man. I love what Peyton said about him, though, that he's excited for him to get this opportunity. I feel like Peyton Manning also believes that he's ready for this opportunity. Me looking into, more on Callahan and his tenure. He was with the Lions. He worked with Stafford as well. Stafford was a very tough quarterback. Derek Carr, also a really tough quarterback. Peyton, a really tough quarterback, and so is Joe Burrow. If you look at all these guys that he's been in their tenure, these quarterbacks, they're really tough, competitive guys. And they've had very longevity careers. Derek Carr obviously has had his ups and downs and lows. I think that was a lot of management and coaching staff in Oakland and Las Vegas with the Raiders and his career there. But it's huge for Levis. I think this is probably the biggest, and that was the thing in Brand Carthon and Amy's mind when they went looking for the next head coaches. who can we get to connect with Will Levis? Who can we have create that, vibe of, you just see Peyton on the sidelines, man. He's always standing by the coach. Where's the coach at? Where's my quarterback coach at? Like, and I'm not, and I'm sure that, he'll have something to do with the quarterbacks and stuff like that. Like, Brian Callahan, he's not astray from actually playing the position either. He played quarterback himself when he went to UCLA. So he's also done that, before. So, like, I feel like it's a big developmental piece for Will Levis and stuff, man. I think that, and just Peyton saying that about him, that speaks volumes to Will Levis, or at least it should, in my opinion. Like, this is a guy that I want to be around. This is a guy I want to learn from and have, kind of coach me and lead me.
Yeah, Blue.
Talk about it.
Blue, I think you hit the nail. You hit the nail on the head there. I think it's very important, like, to kind of pay attention to some of the first things that he said. When he first came in and started speaking, he started thanking people, and 2 quarterbacks were named right at the rip. The first was Peyton Manning, and the second was Joe Burrow. And, and he thanked them for, helping him get to where he's at today. And I think that's key there. Not only that, but you also look at what, Maddox was saying about, how Peyton Manning came out and, was giving him his kudos. I think that says a lot about, Coach Callie here. And I think it tells
Coach
you all.
Callie.
Coach Callie. I love that.
Coach Callie, he's from Illinois.
Wait a second. That was something I was going to throw in and not tell either one of y'all. But I wanted to be the first one to give our new coach a freaking nickname, and I was going to call him B-Cal. Dang it. But I like Callie.
B-Cal. I was going to call him Captain Callahan, so whatever.
Hey, I love all 3 of them.
Put him in a superhero outfit. Big C on his chest. Captain Calllahan, you know what I'm saying? Oh, two-tone blue? What?
Hey, shit
No.
on me.
Yo, let's go.
Nah,
but I think you like I said, you hit the nail on the head. He used to play quarterback himself. It says a lot to who he is as a human being, as a coach, as a teacher. As someone who can come in here and become a leader for this team. He's shown that he's very family oriented, which is good. One of the comments from Wesley Woodyard that really got me fired up that I had no clue about was the fact that the players weren't allowed to bring their family into the locker rooms after the game. And I'm sorry, like I can speak for all 3 of us here.
When Vrabel's kids were around, he didn't want the players' kids around his kids or something like that.
I mean, we're all 3 fathers,
He said, "Fuck them kids."
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, if I was in a work environment that was like that, deuces.
Bro, I quit, dog. Later, bro.
But while we are on the quarterbacks, topic, one of the things I brought up in our last episode, and actually I think it was Massey who might have brought it up, or Lee, but that was, do you keep Malik Willis for 1 more year as a backup since he's under contract, or do you go out and you waste that cap space right now? What's your thoughts on that?
Hold on. Are you confused of if it was me or Lee? I think I'm just joking, bro. I'm just messing.
I can't remember which one of y'all brought that up, but they asked the question. I think it was Lee who said he was out on him. And
No. I think I asked you that in the comments. I think I put that in the comments last show y'all had. I said, so what do you do for the backup quarterback?
I'm under, like, in my opinion, I think you just have to hold off. I think because if Calllahan is really good at developing quarterbacks, I'm not saying he's going to be able to develop Malik Willis into some goddess quarterback, but he could develop him into a legit backup playing quarterback for this team.
Can you make him into Logan Woodside? That's what I'm trying to see.
Yeah. And I think you can do that by just allowing Malik Willis to play his game. Be himself. And that's what we get from Calllahan. I think right now it would be a mistake to go out and get a quarterback. I think you have to focus on on your big major holes in this team. What's your thoughts on that, Blue?
Yeah, I'm not getting another quarterback. I mean, free agency maybe. Who's available?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so bring and I'm not saying when I say bring in a veteran like second string quarterback or whatever, just a veteran quarterback. I by no means am I saying bring him in to try and motivate Will Levis or like direct him or whatever. That's not what I mean by bringing in a veteran.
He's here if you get hurt. Yeah.
Exactly. If Will Levis gets hurt, we want to know that our second string is going to play decent enough to still try and get us wins around every other piece that we have. You know what I'm saying? So
So
like,
who do you sign? Who do you go get though? Because I'm not drafting a quarterback. I'm definitely not wasting a draft pick on a quarterback. That's not happening.
Right.
So who do you go sign
that would be
to
so
develop?
senseless if we drafted another freaking quarterback. What? That would be 3 drafts in a row, wouldn't it? You have Malik, then you have Will, and then if we do it again this year,
Lee has us taking a quarterback late in the draft.
I would lose my shit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying,
Absolutely.
man. Like,
Hey.
Say hey.
Hey.
Tighten up.
Yeah, tighten up. Let's go.
No, but I can't see us drafting a quarterback. That's ridiculous, man. I feel like Rand made his quarterback pick last year, and I feel like that's who he's going to stick with and develop through. That was Rand's guy, man.
That being said, do you think Rand knew the potential, or do you think Rand seen something that a lot of other people didn't see in Will Levis, and then we actually got to see it through the injuries and things like that on an NFL field?
I don't think he had as much control last year over the entire draft board as what we thought. I think maybe Vrabel had that first pick kind of in his pocket, and I think that's why we saw the pick go to Peter Skronsky. If not, I feel like we would have tried to trade up, maybe get a quarterback.
Well,
before then, like CJ Stroud was probably definitely going to be the guy. If not, Peter Skronsky. So I feel like Vrabel had that first pick in his pocket, and after that, I feel like they kind of let Rand Carthon do his thing with the rest of the draft board, and I feel like that's where the Will Levis pick, the Tajay Spears pick, and all those other picks came in. But, I mean, it was a good draft. The only one that really didn't pan out as well as we thought was honestly Peter Skronsky. Yeah, he was decent, but he was also way below the expectations and way below the average offensive lineman in the NFL.
Yep.
Which shows, I feel like Rand picked, from 2 on up. Everything after that first round, I feel like Rand kind of had more say in than Vrabel. And I feel like it's just such a Vrabel J-Rob move to pick another offensive lineman first.
Yeah. And,
you have the 11th over. There was so much talent. Look at all the talent that the rookies last year that we passed on. We got Peter Skronsky. That's what we got. And we're not even playing him at left tackle. You drafted a left tackle. You didn't even play him at left tackle. Make that make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just about to bring that same thing up, man, because like, why would you take him out of the position that he was a freaking all-star in different terms in college? He was an all-star freaking left tackle, and then you move him to left guard in the NFL.
I'll answer. Plug and play, dog.
Plug and play.
Plug and play.
So I'll say this. Going back to
coach better play better, dog.
Going back to the whole quarterback situation. If we do our jobs, if Rand and Calllahan do their job correctly.
We do have jobs to do.
Yeah, we do. We got to do that crap correctly. But no, but let's be honest. At the end of the day, if they do their job and they do it correctly, they're going to build a O-line that's going to be able to protect Will Levis, and that's going to be able to keep him up all year. Okay, because that's what we need for a quarterback like Will Levis, who is still trying to fully recover from injuries from college that led over into the NFL. If you get a good O-line and they can protect Will Levis, then I think you can get through the season with having Malik Willis as the backup, and then next year you take that whatever you have in cap space and then you invest in a backup.
What's the What's the first move y'all think that they're doing inside of the organization, like player wise, like as far as re-signings?
Re-signings.
And I'm gonna throw that to you
Who?
first, Messi. Like, who do you think they re-sign first? Like, there's a bunch of free agents, 1 year deal guys that just were on the roster last year, like, and guys, that have been here for a few seasons. That of course, Derrick Henry, has his stuff, that he's doing. I honestly am good. Like me and Massey went on Coliseum podcast. Sorry, I blanked. Um, we went on there last week, and that was super fun. Shout out to them too. I know they have a show going on later tonight, so be sure to check that out, guys. If you guys are in the mood for some more Titans talk, which I always am. So, yeah, definitely check out Titans Coliseum podcast, man. Firestone kills it with those graphics, and they're all like got super fire takes, man. And yeah, just spitting facts over there too, man. But we were over there, man, and like we all said, like that was one of their topics was have you come to the realization that Henry's gone, and like I think like for me, obviously, yeah, I think Henry's gone. But as far as like the other free agents, other than Henry, like who would you say that we re-signed first? Like who is their guy? Like, all right, we got to get him back on the roster.
Danico Autry. If you don't re-sign that man, then I am going to be really, really mad about it.
Really, really mad. No, that's what I was thinking.
I think Danico needs to be one of the top priorities because, like both of y'all were just saying earlier, the defense is going to have a lot to do with you having good games and winning games.
Yeah.
So if you don't sign the man that just got 10 plus sacks this season, he was on a rampage this
Season in a row.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta
Third season in a row.
You gotta keep Danico. You gotta keep that Danico, Jeff, and Harold, which we know Harold and Jeff are gonna stick around. But Danico is that perfect addition to it. I think outside of Danico Autry, of course we got D-Hop under next year, so he's not going nowhere. And if I'm correct, so is Al Shear, if I'm correct, or is he a free agent?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got him for another year.
I don't think he is. I think Alshear and Key are both on 2-year deals.
Okay.
Key might be a 1-year deal. I think Key's a free agent, and I know Murphy Bunting's a free agent.
Okay.
Edmonds will be a free agent. Trying to think of defensive names that I can pick out.
We
definitely need a linebacker, like something in that linebacker group to
Farley's
like kind of solidify
this year, right? Or is he?
Who is it?
Farley. He's a free agent this year, or is he one more year?
Murphy?
Caleb Farley.
Oh, Farley?
I can't remember when he started.
He's still with us. I'm pretty sure.
So, I mean, if you ask me, I'm gonna go with as a fan, and I know you kind of excluded it, and it's probably the least option to happen. I'd have to go Derrick Henry. I think you keep that dynamic duo between him and Spears together at least for another 2 years. And within that time, you should be able to correct everything else on this offense. And then that gives Spears a really good, solid veteran running back to kind of continue to study and learn behind, and let Spears do what Henry did when Henry came in and was playing behind, what was his name? Oh my gosh. DeMarco Murray, and I just think that you slowly let that transition over.
No. Come back. Where'd he go?
Get back here.
So, hey, do you think Tajay gets over 1,000 next year?
Ooh. Receiving yards? Receiving yards?
Yeah, no, I did say only 1,000. Well, I'll have to check and see what he got his rookie season. Hey,
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
let's go. That's fire. Hey
Oh,
man,
I
that's a
love
nice
it.
jersey. Where'd you get that?
But yeah,
You muted, dog.
oh. Hey.
What? Why'd you mute
Oh,
me?
there. Oh, I didn't know.
You don't like hearing me?
No, that was fire.
Yeah, bro, that was awesome. Yeah.
That's it.
So I think that you see Spears start to do that. I wouldn't say next year because you always got your sophomore slumps, you know.
Oh, that's right. All right.
So I say we see that year 3 from Spears, and that's what I'm saying. You keep Henry for another 2 years, and then you let that transition year be Spears' third year, which will be Henry's last year. And in my opinion, if you do that, then I believe that we can be championship or Super Bowl in 2 years, for
You
sure.
said re-sign Henry?
To a 2-year deal.
I really think,
And I'm not.
You what?
I'm just saying, like
I
that.
think that Will and Tajay had a great rookie show. I'll put it like this: I feel like they had a good enough rookie showcase to show that potential to where they don't need 2 and 3 years. I think Will Levis has a really great season next season and moving forward, and I think Tajay continues to improve.
What was the one thing that helped
ahead.
Henry out when he first came in? Why did he have
him
such
being-
fresh
think-
legs when he was hitting
The
his
running back
prime?
position.
The running back situation.
No, hold on, because look, remember when Henry first got here, bro? The year that Henry was drafted by the Titans, we tried to trade him.
Yeah.
So it wasn't what was best for Henry leaving him on the bench. It was what was best for our front office, what they thought they could toy with and what they thought they could use to their advantage. They left Henry on the bench for the whole time has a way better career than Murray ever thought about having.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what
Was a
like,
way better running back in all of it.
Who the hell let that guy go to the second round? Every single team in the NFL passed on him in the first round
Well,
of the
because
draft.
you got
That's
to realize
crazy.
though.
Because he was seen as an Alabama running back, bro, and those didn't pan out.
Yeah.
You look at history with Alabama running backs, people like Eddie Lacy and Trent Richardson, those
about
big
it.
backs from
Talk
Bama, they
about
never
it.
panned out.
Yes.
They just didn't work.
I'm correct. There's
But
only
Henry was built different, man. He wanted to win. He wants to still win. Like he said on Bussin' with the Boys, man. He feels like he's got a couple of those 2K yard seasons still in him.
Oh yeah.
But it's not going to happen here, and it makes no season. It makes no point, or not no point, but it makes no sense at this point for the team to re-sign Henry. I feel like because I feel like we're in a completely different direction. I'm sorry, Brian Callahan's going to be calling plays next year, and we're not going to run the ball like that. And if you have Henry, you're forced to run the ball.
They said they're sticking with running the ball.
Yeah,
though.
Brian.
They said they're
Yeah, he
sticking
came
with
out.
it
He
unless
said
they-
It's not.
unless it-
It's not going to be. It's not going to be like they were. It's not going to be like they were with Henry, where Tajay Spears is going to get 30 touches a game. Because Henry, you can't tell me that we're in a full rebuild and then you're going to go sign a 30-year-old running back, re-sign him for 2 more years. I don't see that.
It's in the Tennessee Titans organization history of them to do the running game scenario, and that's exactly what the guy that's overran Carthon said they were going to continue to do, which is run the ball. But like I just said to Gary and Lee when he was on earlier before you hopped on, that is all fine and dandy, cool. Whether Henry comes back or is Tajay and then a backup to Tajay, cool. If you still want to run the ball and it's working, run that shit. But if it stops working, man, just like we've seen these past 2 seasons, they refuse to go another direction during the games. They continue to try and run the ball and thought that somehow, some way that was going to break through and win us games. It didn't for 2
It's a different style. It's a different style of running game that we're going to.
That's exactly what he. No, actually, because Brian said in the interview, he said we're gonna still be that run dominant, physical running type of team. He said
it's not a north and south run.
This is what he
it's
said.
Not that.
Yeah.
This is what he said, and I quote though. He said that if there's a game where the running game is not working, it's going to be a pass dominant game. And if that passing game is not working, then it's going to be a run dominant game. You know, he said he's
That
not
tells me that
interested.
they're not focused on one way or the other.
Yeah,
It's going to be a very
What's up, buddy? What's up?
Hey.
Yeah, he's not
What are you
focused
doing, bro?
on having that balanced team. You know what I'm saying? He's focused on doing what works. And that's what matters. And what has worked for the Titans historically is that physical smash mouth running the ball down your throat type of runs. Now, I think we're going to see a bunch of new running concepts. I think honestly, the running concepts that we've been giving Henry this past season is what made Henry struggle. If you look at the last 3 games, we start to see Henry come on and play like Henry of old, especially that last game. That last game was a flashback of Derrick Henry. You know, and what was it? We weren't just going straight down the middle anymore. We were hitting the corners. We were giving Henry time to get, steps in. And
that's not his game, though.
But that's
not Henry's game.
That's something that Henry has done extremely well at.
He's a north to south guy.
Tell me how, when as soon as I was able to start podcasting and things like that and get my opinion out, my whole thing with Derrick Henry, specifically this season, was I thought he wasn't using his vision good enough. Not aside from the offensive line, we know it's a bad offense, but using his vision. And then in this last game, Blue, you said it best, bro. It was a showcase. It was clearly a showcase game for Derrick Henry, whether he was coming back to the Titans or going out on the market to another team, that he still has the vision to get downfield. It looked like a totally different Derrick Henry in this last game compared to
bouncing cuts and was he bouncing cuts and juking guys out of their shoes, or was he powering up through over his blocks and running through holes? That's the difference now. I feel like you look at Rand Carthon and the situation with San Francisco and how the run game is there. It's it's a mix. There's stuff with the wide receivers running the ball. There's stuff with how Christian McCaffrey runs the ball. Christian McCaffrey is a completely different running back than Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
He's also in the MVP candidate race this season. That run game works. That's fast. That's explosive. That's elusive. That's hard to stop. It's not as hard now for these linebackers and these defensive linemen as they get faster and stuff like through the draft and stuff. You see their 40 times and stuff. It's not as hard for them to stop Derrick Henry because they know where he's coming. They know where the hole is. They know he's going straight through that hole. He's going to try to go over top of it.
Yeah, all you got to do is stack 9 in the box. And I mean, especially behind the O-line that we've had this last year, by the time Henry was given the ball, he was getting hit just about every single play. There's a play breakdown where you see who was our left tackle?
He's non-existent.
Well, we see
to be determined.
Well, we've seen a combo. Exactly. I literally broke this footage down. We see a combo block, and instead of holding to their guy, they literally release the guy. And as they release the guy to go into the backfield, I think it was actually Will Levis. Will Levis had handed the ball to Henry. They went on to proceed to the next level, and Henry got creamed before he could even hit the line of scrimmage. It's mistakes like that.
Because you have a bunch of guys that were worried about getting to the second level, because if they didn't get to that second level, God forbid they go back to the sideline.
All you got to do with a player
and
like
they
Henry
completely missed the first level.
Give him that one hole to hit, and he'll get to that second level.
This very last game, all of a sudden, the offensive line was blocking good. And Derrick Henry was actually down.
I think what that was a coaching shift, because Vrabel and to Blue's face, he called this, so eating that piece of humble pie. But I think at the end of the day, the offensive line play, everything we've seen in that last game boils down to one fact: Vrabel knew his ass was on the hot seat. He knew. Because that's when the rumblings really started to heat up. he knew that he had to go out here and put something on tape that says, "Hey, I'm still a coach. I'm still worth trying to
Why is it
hire or
important to win
keep."
the last game of the season against the Jaguars? Because losing fucking sucks. Because it fucking sucks.
And
That's what he said, and that's what he
yeah,
meant when he said that, guys. It fucking sucks.
yeah,
And ultimately, obviously, it didn't matter what happened in that game. I think he was already gone.
yeah.
Amy said it wasn't a split decision, but
No, she said that decision had been made for a while.
If that
Now I
was the
will.
case, though, why did they not, like Blue just said, why was just the last game on the freaking schedule the most important one where
Well,
you felt like you needed to do that? Why after what? I don't know.
But it wasn't the only game that they actually came out and performed good in, though. You look at the Dolphins. Why could we go out and beat a team like the Dolphins the way we did?
because the players
And
came together. The players came together in that game. The players did that. The players won that game. Mike Vrabel didn't outcoach anybody in
So,
that game. There
so
was injuries that happened in that game. But you can name. But and like me and Massey talked about this on the Coliseum podcast. You can name several games where Mike Vrabel got flat out coached. The Indianapolis game, he got out coached. He got out coached in the first game against the Jaguars. He got hella out coached in the Cleveland game. I mean, absolutely flat out exposed in the Cleveland game. And there's just the Tampa Bay game. He got exposed in that one. He got out coached in that one. Like, there's so many games that he got out coached in this year too. And like, I think that's all. Everything as a collective,
yeah,
all came together. And I think ultimately it was a sit down with Rand and Amy and trying to figure out, well, look, we've changed this, we've drafted this guy, we've moved these guys around, like we plug and plug and played all year. Yeah, we plug and played all year. So like, what do we do now? Like, where are we at? And then like they pull out the paper and they're like, well, let's start at the top. Amy Adams, Rand Carthon, Mike Vrabel. Well, Mike Vrabel was the only
And
so I feel like that's what it went to.
There's reports going around, and of course Rand came out and said that he had a great relationship with Vrabel, that that there were never no confrontations or anything. But I mean, there were reports kind of swirling out there that Mike Vrabel and Rand was actually kind of butting heads on a lot of things.
Hoopla! No, I don't think they. I think it was a thing of a different direction change, and like I don't know, Matthew, you can tune in on this too, bro. Like I think they both wanted different things within the season. One guy has a different vision for 53 man, and then another guy has a different vision for the 53 man and where the team should be going, and stuff like that. I think that's where a lot of it came in.
They couldn't see eye to eye, and it was very clear that them two cannot see eye to eye, because after Vrabel gets fired, then there's these random reports that come out. Vrabel and Rand didn't want to be, or Vrabel didn't want Rand. That came out.
He wanted Monty or something. Monty something or something like that. He wanted an in-house guy. And like, it made me die laughing when we were on the Coliseum podcast. I think it was Morocco or Firestone one that said, I don't think it was Firestone, but I think it was Morocco or somebody that said it, but they said something about Vrabel's staff. They're like, oh, well, the buddy system, happens all throughout the NFL. You're always going to have that buddy system. Like, that's a thing. And then, like, Morocco was like, the buddy system's fine. He was like, Vrabel's buddies are just idiots, man. Like, they're stupid. So, like, like, he wanted all these in-house guys and, to keep his stuff around. Because I think it was brought up because I said something about wanting Bill Calllahan if we hired Brian Calllahan, because we hadn't even hired him yet at that time. But I said that I wanted him as the new head coach so we could get his dad maybe in here to help fix this O-line. And then he said something about, well, you don't like the buddy system, but you like that. And I'm like, oh, well, I mean, it's different.
Yeah, and then also, shout out to Firestone, Marco, RJ, all of them over there at Titans Coliseum podcast. Firestone also, I think what sparked that part of the conversation was him saying, like, oh, I think it's funny. Y'all always want to have something to say about this whole buddy system with Vrabel. And they're like, but all the Titans fans are saying, if you get Brian Calllahan as the head coach, you got to bring his daddy in as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that was funny, dude. As soon as he said that, I was like, dang, you got me, dog. Caught me with pants down, bro. Shit. Like, fuck.
Yeah, and I mean, guys, as we kind of drift to the end of this episode,
Oh, I'm just getting started.
I know. I actually gotta
Yeah,
hop
hold on.
off
Where you going?
though.
Where you going, boy?
But I first of all, it's been awesome to have you back on, Blue. Love these
Most definitely,
conversations,
man.
man. You're gonna have to come on more often. Still
Man,
definitely
we'll have to get you on Sports Nation, man.
for
We
sure.
have a
But
blast over there, bro.
gonna have to
I'm in
do
the
a
middle.
Thursday morning or Thursday night episode or something like that.
Hey, I'm working on a so there's the after Super Bowl episode. So the day after the Super Bowl, Massey's already kind of in tune with this. Obviously, he's the other host of the show, but we are gonna have Titans Coliseum podcast on there again. Or well, on our show this time. We were on their show last time, so we'll have them on there the day after the Super Bowl. I'm also gonna try to put Titans Idiot Nation on there, the same show as them, and also try to have Titan Jones on the episode as well. So to have all five of them along with me and Massey, if we can get you on there as well, bro, that'd be super cool, man. I can have up to 10 people in there at one time, so we can get in there and go at it, bro.
Be a chaotic
Everything will
episode.
be
Let's do
unfolded
it.
at that point, man. We'll know where all the cards from last season, ended up, who won the Super Bowl, who got MVP, and all that stuff. We'll know all that, good jazz by then. Massey, there's an interesting event coming up though that you wanted to holler about. What was that? The Pro Bowl game.
Oh yeah, bro. Talk about that.
Hey, so yeah. While we still have some time here, Gary, if you're cool with it.
Fire away real quick.
So I got to ask both of you. It's kind of two parts to a question, but what do y'all think about the last couple of actual Pro Bowl football games we had? And then now, what are y'all's opinions on how they've completely switched it over, and now it's only flag football for the Pro Bowl, and then of course they had the game, the quarterback competition, wide receiver competition. I'm definitely on board with the quarterback and the competition things they do. I love the dodgeball part of it. I think that's really awesome. But
Make it fan involved.
So
yeah, I think you can throw fans in there too.
Like if it's gonna be flag football, I feel like every 30, like each 32 team should like literally hold a flag football tryout for fans. Like you pick your roster of fans. Like you have 12 defensive play. You get 24 players, 24 fans. I mean, I don't know a better wide receiver than Spider Titan. Could you imagine that? All you have to do is got that gone. You know what I'm saying? It'd be cool. It'd be cool if they got it fan involved, like almost like the fan voting football and stuff like that. That would be super cool to me.
Yeah.
I agree.
And as far as the competition, like the receiver competition, the quarterback competition, that's actually something that they used to do back in the day, back when Peyton Manning first got in here. I actually used to love going on YouTube and watching some of those old competitions because it was really, really, awesome to kind of just see that, and then we kind of stopped doing that. And then of course COVID happened, and that's when we seen the actual Pro Bowl game in itself start to shift and change. And, now it's more of the flag football type stuff that we're seeing. I understand why they're doing that, for players' health and safety. But at the end of the day, I don't like that as much because I like to see the best of the best versus the best of the best, So that's just me personally. But again, I love the competition. The wide receiver competition, the quarterback competition. I mean, some of those targets they have to hit, especially those moving targets. That's freaking ridiculous, bro. 40, 50 yards down the field.
Because I love dodgeball so much. And it's like professional athletes.
What if we made our Pro Bowl game a dodgeball game?
I mean, it would be better than flag football.
Make them play football, but make them use a frisbee.
Yeah.
Frisbee.
You know what I'm saying?
A Nerf ball.
Yeah,
No, I feel like they should maybe play a more interesting game of football. Like the Kelsey brothers, like how they were talking. Maybe have like a real, football game, but you're allowed one, hockey fight.
Wait,
for the Pro Bowl.
Wait. I got this.
You know what I'm saying?
I got this.
Like, could you imagine if Patrick Mahomes and like somebody got into like an all-out brawl? Dude, I'd love to see Patrick Mahomes get his ass kicked. No offense to Patrick Mahomes, but I mean, offense intended.
We just went to a complete like player versus player Madden tournament.
There we go. Fantasy draft.
Nah, I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it.
I'm not watching it.
Nah, I'm not watching a bunch of grown men play Madden. I'm sorry.
Are you going to?
I struggle enough to play it consistent. Do what?
Would you compete in it?
Nah, because Madden pisses me off. I'm just gonna be real. Madden makes me mad, bro. Madden be having me hot.
Because there's probably gonna be live streaming shit. Us just sitting there playing. I'd be damned if I get in front of the camera and show my anger that I showed towards Madden when I'm playing that stuff.
Yeah, bro. They cancel me, bro. Blueface would be canceled, bro.
You can't be no longer a freaking super fan because you're out here showing your butt.
Headbutts and controllers.
Which no more than my butt. No.
What happened to your camera? All we seen was a controller fly at it.
Nah, whole TV gone and everything, bro.
Right.
But yeah, no, my whole thing on the Pro Bowl thing, it was just a thought, really, because, man, like I said, the last couple of Pro Bowls that they did play in pads and stuff, it was no competition. It wasn't competitive. It was almost really boring to watch. And
It should have been flag football.
And those are your like MVPs of the league that year on each team type stuff, or like your key players. Cool, like basically like the NBA is, where they have the All-Star game. Guys, the All-Star game in the NBA is still really competitive. Yeah, they play a little bit light defense and things like that. They let like cool shots go off. But in the
I feel like at one point it got whacked. Like when Blake Griffin was like doing his dunking thing, like that All-Star game, like that period of it was whack. Like Stephen Curry literally laid on the ground in the All-Star game and let him just like. I was like, bro, who does that, bro? You get paid millions of dollars, you better jump with that man.
that was that Antetokounmpo dunk.
Bro, I feel like him and LeBron have like such a like chokehold on this league right now, bro. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but guys,
I mean,
you're right. Hey,
Embiid dropped 70, bro.
Hey, I mean facts, dude. Big facts. No,
sorry, we're getting into.
No, you're good, bro.
We're getting into NBA. Look, we about to take over this, so hold on.
I wish we actually had more time to kind of just keep going into this, but like I said, we gotta end the episode. Wife's leaving, so I gotta go tend to our children. But with that being said, man, it's been an awesome episode. And talking about the NBA, Twin Titans Sport Network, we're going to have a platform for all sports in that. We're going to have all teams covered in the NFL. It's going to be something. It's going to start out slow, guys, so don't expect everything to come all at once. It's going to start out slow. We're going to make sure that we have the right culture, the right people built, coming in, and that way we can build this thing up properly. It's going to be a awesome network to tune into. And who knows, we might become the biggest non-credential sport network out there.
Go.
So with all that being said, Blue, man, love having you come back on, bro. Definitely going to have to get you back on here again.
Sure. Appreciate it.
You did an awesome job today, bro. Thank you for hosting and co-hosting and everything that you do. Let's just keep up the great work. And then with all that being said, guys, what we say? We got two things we like to say when we get out of here. That's peace out. Tighten up.
Tighten up, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. This episode of What's Shaking Titans is powered by Bailey's Barbecue. Bailey's Barbecue, smoking good barbecue. And thank you for taking the time to join the Twin Titans Sport Network and What's Shaking Titans.